Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan. Great to be here with you on a Thursday, November the 9th, 2023. Man, we are getting close to Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that entails. And a little time off, Christmas and holiday extravaganza. There's a lot happening in the next 6 weeks or so. Let's get our heads right, though. Let's just get through today. That's really the motto every single day. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Everybody's a little bit behind today. Benjamin R. Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning, Benjamin.
Talking about the holidays, someone put up a tree in the studio.
That was me. Your old pal Woods did that.
It's got lights and tinsel, and
Yeah, looks good.
I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it.
Okay.
I think I would have rebelled against it in the past.
Why is that?
Just felt too early, like before Thanksgiving.
No
Let's
way.
not skip over holidays. Let's give each and every holiday its proper due before moving on to the next one.
Well, I didn't have a cornucopia to put in here or any... What else? Those old, hard ears of corn?
The turkey, yeah.
Stuffed
Stuffed
turkey.
A couple turkeys running around.
Did your parents have like the long, hard corn?
Yeah.
Everywhere. Like in my house.
The maize.
Yeah.
but Plastic.
Plastic
Just,
maize and the cornucopia, which is a weird like wizard's hat turned on its side, stuffed with corn and pumpkins and things.
Gourds.
Gourds.
The bounty of the
Decorative
harvest.
gourds.
Yes, the bounty of the harvest. They didn't have any of that. So I was walking by this morning, and there is a treasure trove of Christmas stuff out in the hall. And Kixie's already done. It looks like a winter wonderland in there. I don't know that anyone works at 94.9, so they haven't done anything there. So I just grabbed this tree. I brought it in to spruce up our studio a little bit. I didn't know that I worked with the Grinch. Well, you're going to allow it this year.
I'm allowing
so
it.
you're
Yeah,
softening.
I'm trying to soften a little bit.
Benjamin, you're a little bit worse for wear today. A little under the weather.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I mean, are you under the weather? I got a flu shot.
Yeah.
And I mean, it worked. It gave me the flu.
Yeah, you're a little achy.
And now I am. I assume the antibodies are rushing through my bloodstream to try to battle the mild case of flu that the vaccine gave me, so I won't get a much worse case of the flu later. But yeah, especially last night, knocked me on my butt, aches, chills. I was at work and I was going, okay, this is a high level of reaction to my flu shot that I got the other day.
Got me too, man. I did it, and I was like, babe, can you parent tonight? Because I just can't. I can't do it, man. I felt like ass.
So when they give you the flu shot, you're getting a little bit of the flu.
Yeah.
Correct.
Does that make Ben contagious with the flu right
No,
now?
Shouldn't be.
No, you should be fine. But you should also.
It's the weakened version that they give you.
You should feel better. You still shouldn't be. You should be feeling.
I'm definitely better than I was last night. The aches are starting to dismiss, and I don't have the chills anymore.
Okay, good.
Now I got a tetanus shot in this arm, and I cannot lift it. It is like it's like I'm back in junior high, and I got 10 for flinching like 100 times. Like someone has just been wailing on my right arm.
It's the worst, man.
I'm like, oh my god, this hurts.
Would you cry if I slapped your arm?
Yes,
right now?
I think so.
You probably would.
It's that bad.
You know, my 3-year-old got a couple shots yesterday, and he was less of a baby than you and I were about ours.
They didn't hurt going in. I'll say that. That was okay.
He had one little tear. We took them yesterday to School of Rock, and we did
yeah.
that. Yeah, we did the School of Rock deal, and
They're already top of the class.
no, I mean it was funny because the teacher is like 15 years old. And she's like, does anyone know? And it's Bo and Taylor, and then 2 little girls, one probably Taylor's age, one probably Bo's age. Does anyone know AC/DC? And Bo's eyes light up. Does anybody know the White Stripes? That's one of Bo's favorite bands. So he's feeling good. And I'm a little concerned because they both gravitated instantly to the drums. Yeah. And actually, both of them sat down on the drums and were like, like looked at 5 and 3, kind of like they knew what they were doing and that it was a natural fit.
They've already got the hair for it.
They have the hair for it. And I thought to myself, oh no, this could backfire beyond spectacularly on me and Hannah. As you guys know, I almost murdered Ben for tap dancing on this plastic sheath beneath. Yeah. excess noise for me. The leaf blower outside. If I ever do snap, that's what it will be because. And there was some kid in a room next to the class. And I'm like, this could be the next 15 years of your life with both of these dudes in there. By the way, one drum set won't cut it. If you have 2 kids, and you have 2 kids, what are their age difference? What's the difference?
2 years.
If you get one thing for one you
cool
have
thing
to
like
get
that.
the other one the same. It can't even be mildly different. I got you this bouncy ball. It's red. Taylor will see it. Well, I want the red one. And Bo's like, well, I want the red one. I'm like, it's the same GD ball. Who cares? It does the same thing. Well, I want red. Why did he get red? You go nuts. And I go, Hannah, we have to stop buying separate. You get him a shirt, get him the same shirt, the same color, everything. I'm going to end up with 2 MFing drum sets in my garage and 2 little kids out there. Now, the chances of them turning into anything successful.
A band doesn't need 2 drummers.
That's what Hannah said. She goes, well, now they'll never be in a band. And I go, well, bands need drummers. She goes, yeah, but they won't be in a band together. I go,
are there any bands with 2 drummers?
Yeah, there are.
There
actually.
are some?
Yeah, I've
okay.
seen, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of who they are, but I know I've seen it. Somebody Google that. Somebody will let us
The
know.
Allman Brothers.
They had two drummers. Incredible.
They were brothers, too.
But
they probably grew up and they both wanted a drum set.
In my fantasy, Bo is the lead singer, Taylor is the guitar player. You know what I mean? Like the Gallagher brothers, and how'd that work out? The Black Crowes, they also broke up. Maybe it's best that they just go their separate ways, but it was really sweet.
Oh, you know who has 2 drummers?
Who?
The legendary King Gizzard and the Lizard
King
Wizard.
Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Look at that.
Famous from early in the Ben and Woods canon. They were one of the Coachella bands that we hadn't heard of.
Mushroom Head.
I was reading it was like our first year it was like maybe our first month on the show because Coachella is usually in April or something, but maybe it was just the lineup. And I made Ben read some of the names, and he goes, Who is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard?
The Wizard Lizard.
They're a really good band, actually. I didn't know they had 2 drummers, though.
King Gizzard?
I can't believe you found that. It is a Throwback Thursday, after all, in Ben and Woods. But my life flashed in front of my eyes because they both were like, their eyes got. I mean, drums are cool as hell. Like if you get to sit at a drum set, we have 100 guitars at my house.
It almost feels like you're driving a car.
It does.
You're in charge.
Everyone thinks they're coordinated until they sit at a drum set, and then you're like, don't ting ting. You can't do the simplest beat. So we worked on rhythm. They had maracas, and they did pretty well at that. And then the class just spirals. One little girl screaming and crying. Taylor was like, "Where's my?" And so he left. It was. I don't know. Like I was all excited about it yesterday. Now there's a slight sense of dread for next week. And you remember yesterday I said they're not quitting this class. If they want to be drummers, I might make them quit this class.
Hey, if you're not feeling it,
if you're not feeling it, fine. Much like karate when we did karate.
Quitting is okay. Quitting is always okay. Or at least in this case, that's the lesson.
What am I gonna do if they both want to play drums? Like I can't do it. I can't make it. I'm gonna have to get my own place. I can't listen to.
Or get them their own place.
Get them their own place, a little condo or something. Maybe we keep them at grandmother's house. And I don't know what I would do if they both wanted to be drummers, but they flocked to it yesterday. To be sure, wanted to give a shout out to one of our kids on the T-ball team. His name is Brixton, and he's a huge Tier 1.
Brixton.
It always domes me out when 5-year-olds listen to the show because there are some adult features on the show, but Brixton's one of my players. He's the kid, Ben, that I see is going to have he has so much potential. I've never seen a kid swing harder at 5 years old, ever.
Harder than Bo swings.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And when he misses, he misses spectacularly, but when he hits it, he absolutely clubs it.
Got a Kyle Schwarber in the making.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's going to be feast or famine with Brixton, but he's a huge, huge listener and loves the show, so I wanted to give him a shout-out this morning. He's a good kid, and I'm happy to have him on the squad, to be sure. So you were feeling crappy last night. Paulie, what did you do last night? Paulie worked on a bit we're going to be doing at 7:35. I think you guys are really going to like.
Yeah, Benny Borass.
Benny Borass, the lowest level of Boras Corp. He's the
newest employee.
Lowest levels, got the lowest tier free agents. We're going to be talking to him at 7:35 this morning. Still no manager announcement yet. Don't really know what's coming. Apparently some doo-doo flu. We were raving all week here on Ben and Woods about how nice the meeting facilities must be for all the general managers. Something hit him. Not food poisoning, a virus or something.
Stomach virus, apparently. They thought maybe it was food poisoning, but when it started passing from person to person, they decided, okay, these people didn't eat the same thing, so this is now just a virus that seems to be transmitting around, and they have actually canceled or ended the baseball general managers meetings early, according to Stephanie Epstein last night. They're pulling the plug on the last day here and sending everybody home so they don't continue to spread whatever is going around the yucky tummy, as it were, with baseball's GMs.
Our guys in the chat said, so everyone's got the shilts. That'd be a really good way for AJ to announce Mike Shildt as the manager if you're in the camp of Mike Shildt. It's weird how he's lost a lot of steam, it feels, at least to the fan base. Had a manager hire yesterday we will get into today. There's actually a lot to talk about from yesterday's meeting. Scott Boras did his annual pun, what would you call it? Punchella for him. It's every year, and they flock to it.
Punpalooza.
I mean, this is just the preview. Usually the winter meetings is where you get the full one.
Is that right?
I think this is just a taste.
This is a teaser.
Yeah.
This is the opening act.
The opening act, the side stage, as it were. I made the mistake of just tweeting something about Scott Boras, and people really don't like him. And I knew that people had their opinions. Who gives a F what Scott Boras thinks? I'm like, well, I mean, the throng of media standing around him do. We do. I liked it. I like it for the comedy factor, so we'll play you some of his audio. It's terrible. I mean, it's so bad that it's great. We'll play you some of that today.
But he
as well.
undoubtedly has an impact on every single offseason in Major League Baseball. I mean,
no question.
Going to have always at least 2 or 3 of the top free agent clients in his stable, and the whole market really can't move very much until Scott Boras and his guys make some decisions and sign some deals. So whether you like him or don't like him,
people do care what he says.
He's a very relevant figure in Major League Baseball during these months, especially from November to February.
He had some cockamamie ideas, one of which is the one I tweeted about. It's absolutely horrendous. We will talk about that. They talked about the plan for the San Diego Padres and Juan Soto. AJ Preller responded to that. Honestly, guys, I mean, it doesn't give me a warm and fuzzy, I can tell you that, but I don't know that we're supposed to feel that right now. So we got a lot to get to today here on Ben and Woods. Probably be taking your calls as well. This is a Throwback Thursday, so we have one of our favorite moments, literally, in Ben and Woods show history.
Listen to it again yesterday.
It's spectacular.
And it's
bone-chilling is what it is.
Made me so uncomfortable to hear it again for the 20th time.
That's exactly right. No, it's a bone-chilling pea shiver when you hear it.
It's 2 audio clips.
It's 2 clips. It gives you the shivers every time you hear it. So we will have that and more.
We've also got a bunch of giveaways. Qualify someone for a trip to Las Vegas during Take on Woods. We've got Green Day tickets to give away and college basketball tickets for a pair of local undefeated Division I teams squaring off this weekend. I'll just leave it at that, and we'll have all those giveaways coming up a little bit later. Ben and Woods getting started. We'll be back with our daily ditty, rolling into it on a Throwback Thursday on San Diego's #1 sports station. Kelly's still here, right? She's going to be off after this afternoon. Okay, so Kelly's got some traffic, and then we'll be right back here on 97.3 The Fan.
It's a great pick.
Couldn't believe this hasn't been chosen
I
yet.
am blown away. Why do you sing like that?
We'll just agree to disagree on Michael McDonald.
As we do on a lot of things, but
I think he's a talented singer with a compelling voice. And you can't stand it. So
I've never gotten it, man.
I mean, there's something about singers. They're not supposed to sound like the rest of us all the time. They're supposed to be a little indecipherable, mysterious, different. And he's different.
I don't know what it is. It's never connected with me.
You know, it is a Throwback Thursday. Ben, you want to try to sing
It's so
the song
high.
again?
Anybody? I keep waiting to you hit a certain age and
He's
you're like,
watching her go.
oh no, you can't do it. Here we go.
But what a fool believes.
It's still funny. He's done it before.
He sees the wise man has the power. I don't have that range. Michael's
It's
got
as good as he did.
phenomenal
Like 5
range.
years ago, we made you do that.
It's not something that you're going to practice at a lot or improve on over the years.
I mean, it'd be tough to be like a Michael McDonald cover band. There's certain bands and stuff that catch up.
I mean, he's got
to
a
me
really
later.
deep. I mean,
He can.
what's amazing is he's got a really deep voice, but he can also go incredibly high at the same time. That's his range. That's his niche. That's right there. Like, you can go anywhere.
I keep waiting for him to catch up to me, as many bands do later on. You know, the older I get, I'm like, you know what? I get that now. That makes sense to me. Still, I just hear Michael McDonald and I'm filled with rage. I don't know why. Every time, it's just I'm waiting. I'm more than middle age right now. I'm like, that's when I should be getting into my Michael McDonald phase, and it's never struck me. But Benjamin loves it, and it reminds you of Ben, and absolutely it does.
Well, it reminds me of Ben. It reminds me of one of the greatest show moments in our history. It made me laugh so hard. It is a Throwback Thursday. We got time to kill.
Yeah, we literally have nothing but time. Nothing.
You know, it is Ben Appreciation Week on the Ditty. You've gotten a lot of love. I think you can wear one here. Yeah. So let's do a little compare and contrast. First, we'll go back to this was August 19th. 2019. We had not even been on the air 3 months.
Right.
And we asked Ben, do you think you could sing falsetto?
Anybody else would
He starts slow.
surely know.
Still waiting on the falsetto.
He's watching her go.
Uh-oh, here we go.
But what a fool believes. He sees the wise man has the power.
Gets me every time.
Okay, that was 4 years ago.
Yep.
Here's
Today.
4 minutes ago.
But what a fool believes.
Still funny. He's done it before.
He sees the wise man has the power.
When it's
Even
way
worse, possibly.
It's worse
yeah,
now.
It's actually gotten worse in the last few years.
When you hit wise.
Yeah,
is when
I knew I was already too high.
Yeah.
You got to be careful when you know you got to go up 2 more octaves before you're done with the line. You got to start lower.
You got to save it. That's fantastic, man. Yeah, you've lost weight. Changes your voice.
That's
a little
true.
bit,
It does
you
a little
know?
bit.
Pavarotti, if he was skinny, probably wouldn't have sung as well.
Skinny Pavarotti.
Skinny Pavarotti would have been like, like he would not have sounded good.
So I was proven both right and wrong yesterday with one of my takes. I said, Padres, you're not going to get a manager named because of the general managers meetings. They're not going to want to name it while everyone's out in Scottsdale, and then you can't do a press conference. So I said, you're not going to hear any news. I was kind of right because A.J. Preller told the reporters there that they're getting close to the end, but probably not until the weekend or early next week when he's actually going to name a new manager. But then the Angels went out and named Ron Washington as their new manager and confirmed it yesterday.
Clearly, it is possible.
So
to
I guess
make that hire.
it is possible to hire a new manager while you're at the general managers meetings in Scottsdale. Padres, though, did not do it. They said it was going to be a couple of days. I still wouldn't be shocked if we heard something even today or tomorrow. But, right now, AJ's at least giving you a timeline of this weekend or early next week to make the final decision as to who it's going to be, whether it's Mike Schilt, Ryan Flaherty, or Benji Heel. And maybe David Ross still possibly getting an interview, although you'd think that if he was going to, by this point, you'd start to hear some rumors that they at least brought him in for a talk. But I guess that could be done today or tomorrow if they really wanted to hear what he had to say and throw his hat into the ring for Padres manager.
Yeah, it's not going to surprise me if it comes out Monday or Tuesday when I'm not here. So enjoy that content that you guys will most certainly get when I'm not here. But it doesn't, yeah, I mean, you said it yesterday. I'd also heard that it could stretch into next week as well. It doesn't mean you can't rip an interview tomorrow with anybody else. Listen, there's always a chance with AJ Preller, too. He's looking at Bob Melvin was a complete surprise. There's always a chance that happens, too. I mean, you saw what the Cubs were able to just do. I don't think we're going to be in the $4 million range anymore for a manager like we were with Bob Melvin. I'm thinking more of the probably $400,000 range for a manager, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure there's names on his list that we've never heard of or didn't even think were available. So
I mean, is that a bad thing? Paying less for your manager. The New York Mets, who have all the money in the world, hired Carlos Mendoza, and what was his deal? He's getting like
3 years, $4 million or something.
Right, total,
yeah.
not per year.
Right.
Whereas Craig Counsell, of course, is getting $8 million per year for 5 years for $40 million. So essentially, he's getting 10 times to be the manager of the Cubs what the new manager, Steve Cohen's new manager of the Mets, is going to be getting.
3 years, $4.5 million with fourth-year option.
Yeah. So I mean, you asked the question: is that a good thing to underpay for a manager? I mean, it doesn't really affect your salary cap or anything like that. So.
I just don't. Is a higher paid manager better? I saw the list when Craig Counsell got his deal as highest paid manager in history. They showed the list of who the other highest paid guys were, and it was Joe Torre, but it was Joe Torre
in the 90s.
It was at the end, like in the mid 2000s, near his last 3 years before he was out. It was Joe Madden, but with like the. Not the World Series years. It was
the Angels years or Cubs.
Cubs.
Series?
Yeah, but it was you were basically overpaid for what they had already done and weren't getting the value out of the manager that you were currently paying at that time.
The overpay for a coach is pretty common in the NFL. It's pretty common it's very common in college football. My God, you rarely get, unless it's Nick Saban or like Kirby Smart.
Like 9-year, $85 million.
Who's the clown at A&M? Jimbo Fisher. Lincoln Riley's a massive overpay. Charlie Weiss was a massive overpay. There's littered with overpays in college football. I think in baseball, it's obviously a different scenario. It's a different story. I can't sit here with any certainty and tell you, Craig Counsell's 100% going to win a World Series with the Cubs. I kind of lean the other way. If I had to guess if he's going to, I'd say he's probably not going to.
It's always a good bet to bet against someone winning a World Series with
the
a team.
Odds say. No question. It would actually surprise me if he did win one in the next 5 years.
No,
he's good, but he's
not
the
greatest manager to ever step foot on a baseball diamond. Put him here in San Diego, and the odds are still against him.
So I think the underpay for a manager or the
the coaching community loves the Craig Counsell signing.
Oh, of course,
I hear a lot of comments. It's about time. Coaching salaries have lagged compared to the rest of the industry. Manager salaries they're good, but they're not exponentially rising like some of the rest of the guys in baseball are getting, and they're going, we don't have a union. When you're suspended, the players union always appeals. When a coach gets suspended, they just have to serve it because they're not represented. So they always felt like they have less power, less authority than some of the rest of the people in baseball. And they see Craig Counsell getting this money and they go, okay, finally a little respect on our side of the business here.
And you're doubling the other longest seasons in professional sport. Doubling. And spring training, and it's the biggest. I got to imagine it's just the biggest grind ever. Great gig, obviously, but such a grind compared to other coaches. Oh, he slept in his office last night coordinating the new offense. Yeah, bro, I've been in Arizona. I've worked on this baseball team for, it's a year-round job, like 18-hour days, I would imagine, for a manager sometimes. So it's a grind. They do deserve to be paid more, certainly. But I just don't know if the Padres are in a position to go out and spend that kind of money on a manager. I don't think they are.
All right, this hour of Ben Woods is brought to you by Smart and Final. Score a Turkey Day touchdown when you shop your whole feast in one trip, and that's it at Smart and Final. Use promo code SFThanks for free delivery on your next order. So Scott Boras may or may not have revealed some of the inner plans of the San Diego Padres for the offseason. My guess is that he doesn't get the whole picture from A.J. Preller, but we'll bring you the audio on Juan Soto's potential future in San Diego from his agent, from the horse's mouth, as it were, in Scottsdale. Get to that coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Can tune in to Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti. Every week, Boomer and Valenti preview all the NFL games with analysis from Boomer, picks from Mike, and the biggest stories packed into 1 hour. You can hear it Friday night, 6 p.m. right here on 97.3 The Fan, also live on the Odyssey app, presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos brought to you by those who drink it, and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Yeah, Scott Boras was the star of the show yesterday. I wonder what the other agents think of Scott Boras.
Not much, I would imagine, right?
I would feel like I wasn't doing enough if I was an agent and I saw him out there, but I also would cringe at his antics and his behavior, and I would go, I can't do what he does, but he also gets the biggest deals for his clients. So I'd be thinking, am I doing this wrong? Should I be more like Scott Boras to be more successful at my job?
He's such an enigma because, like, Scott Boras, for all the cringe and reasons to not like him, we've said it before, like, I think you can argue he might be the best at their profession in the world.
Yeah.
Like, better than the best athlete is, better than the best insurance sales guy is.
I mean, what he got for Anthony Rendon. I mean, Eric Hosmer. I mean, he's the best at what he does. I've talked to him before. I've one-on-one ran into him at Petco Park, and I chatted with him for I'd say 3 minutes, and I was talking to him about Blake and Soto. This was last season. Guy couldn't have been nicer. I mean, it's this partly shtick, right? Part of his thing is shtick. The guy could not have been nicer. I saw, everybody has their preconceived notions of who he is. I mean, if I'm a player, I want a guy like that representing me, especially in one of these big years. But if you're a team and we're the Padres and we've got Juan Soto and we've got Blake Snell, you don't feel great. You don't feel great. You don't feel like you're going to get a good deal. I don't know where he was yesterday, and we might. Do we have the audio of David Sampson? The condensed audio?
No, I don't have the.
Okay, so we'll find the condensed audio for you guys. But David Sampson, former
Marlins executive,
Marlins president, I believe, did an 8-minute bit. He's like, "This is what it's like negotiating with Scott Boras." It's an identical David Sampson, by the way. And you listen to it and you go, "Oh Lord." Then you also think, well, I mean, that's just what a good negotiator does, and he's a really good negotiator. And when you have top-tier clients, man, you want to get them the most money. So his shtick, though, if you look at it as comedy and you don't take it too serious, it's pretty funny.
Now, what he said about Juan Soto wasn't shtick. We just don't know how much validity we can place in it. Let's play that audio when we come back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Viejas Casino and Resort. Traffic alert in place for this fatal accident involving a couple cars and a motorcycle, North 805 before Imperial. It's got the HOV lane blocked. If you normally take that out of the South Bay, might want to consider taking northbound 5, although that's getting pretty crowded as well. Also traveling on the westbound 52 near Genesee. We have reports of a stalled vehicle in middle lanes. Holiday magic has arrived at the Viejas outlets. Revel in the wonder of Southern California's largest outdoor ice skating rink. Save up to 70% by shopping at stores like Nike, Gap, Guess, Adidas, and more. Explore sales and skating at the best shopping in San Diego, the Viejas outlets. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So if I had said what Scott Boras said yesterday about the Padres publicly, I would worry that the Padres would never want to talk to me again. Felt like he was revealing secrets of the San Diego Padres during, like a news conference yesterday. Here's what he said about Juan Soto and the Padres' offseason plans.
What's your sense for where Juan Soto stands with the Padres right now?
Met with the Padres. They laid out their plan for next year, which obviously included, a lineup that is definitely includes Juan Soto. He's their 900 OPS player, and they're obviously looking for more left-handed bats rather than less.
All right, Juan Soto definitely included in the lineup plans for 2024, and the Padres are also looking for more left-handed offense in their lineup for next season, according to agent Scott Boras, who said he met with the Padres. I would assume that means talking with A.J. Preller or his immediate lieutenants during the general managers meetings yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if we have the other part of it. He said they're telling us they're trying to win, and they're going to be very aggressive in the free agent market. Now, we've obviously heard the opposite. We know they're going to be aggressive in the free agent market. What we don't know is what tier of free agent they are going to go after. We all have our ideas of we know what they need. We know we can see the holes on the roster. It's starting pitching is a massive one, but there's some other ones. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of holes that need to be plugged on this team. You're going to have to address them through free agency. What are your options? This is where you are.
It
right
would be
now as a
hard
team.
to make enough trades,
Correct,
to fill every starting pitching hole that you had.
I don't know, and I know AJ really likes building up the farm system. I don't know if he wants to do it again, by trading all the guys that guys, by the way, that are tearing it up in fall leagues and things like that. These are a part of the San Diego Padres' future, one would hope. And so I think, they don't really have a choice but to be very aggressive. And AJ Preller came out and said, quote, "You need super talented players and a lot of them to win championships." So I think from our standpoint, that good part with our roster is we've got a number of those guys. You need elite players. It's never easy to trade for or move an elite talented guy because that's what the best teams have when they win championships. A contract year with an elite player is attractive, but we'll weigh that out versus what it means long-term. Gut feeling, gut reaction, Juan Soto in the opening day lineup. Benjamin Hot Take Time on sports radio.
I think you got to try to read between the lines, between everything that both Scott Boras and AJ Preller said.
There's more Preller if you want it.
No, I've got enough that I feel like, what was Scott Boras's mission there? You feel like Scott Boras has a plan with everything he's saying. There's a motivation behind his comments. And for me to say that he talked to the Padres, because Scott Boras knows the Padres may have to trade Juan Soto. He doesn't not read the headlines. He doesn't not understand the situation. So the fact that he said, I talked to the Padres, they have him in their plans, he wants that to be comfortable. Juan Soto wants to stay with the San Diego Padres.
You know that.
No, but that would be what I read between the lines with Scott Boras saying that.
I feel like that is a reach.
Well, that's what reading between the lines is a bit of a reach.
I think that's like a massive reach. But I don't know that you. I can't. I didn't think with any certain. I felt the other way. I didn't think with any certain. When Scott Boras doesn't extol the virtues really of a play, because he's not a free agent right now. He's got a year left on his deal, so it's kind of pointless to
I'll
be
say
like
this. Juan Soto doesn't want to be a rental for 1 year somewhere where he has to go and readjust to a new team and then just enter free agency to go somewhere else the year after that.
Sure.
He has no interest in being a hired gun somewhere else for one season that he doesn't want to be long term. So he'd rather play out his contract with the San Diego Padres and then be able to make a decision in free agency next offseason. That would be the most comfortable, optimal outcome for Juan Soto.
And Scott Boras.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Boras extending his players a year away from free agency doesn't feel like something he's going to want to do.
And knowing how it took Juan Soto some time to adjust to San Diego, I think Scott Boras goes, all right, we're going to get the best. Now, if we stay in San Diego, we'll have our best chance at putting up a big, giant season going into free agency. If they send him off, somewhere else to Chicago or wherever, I feel like we might have an adjustment period, and those numbers aren't going to look quite as sexy as they would have if we had just stayed where he's comfortable, where he was red hot the second half of last season, carry that momentum into 2024. Scott Boras wants Juan Soto in San Diego for next season. Now, long-term, he wants him wherever he can get the biggest contract.
Correct.
But next season, he wants him in San Diego.
Man, I just it's not an enviable position that AJ Preller and Peter Seidler and those guys are in. You've handed out some massive contracts. This is going to be the biggest one of all. And again, you talk about financial flexibility. Seemingly, as far as we know and what we've heard and what we've read, they don't have a lot of it. And tying yourself to another $400 million contract for 10 years, even though he is an elite talent, is tough to do. It's hard to build around that if you're not going to spend the money that you spent last year, and it seems they're not. So I don't like prudent decisions when it's not my money. So I would love to have Juan Soto here long term. I do. I guess now, after talking it through, he probably will be in the lineup opening day.
I think from Preller's standpoint, what he's saying is he's just trying to keep his options open. That everything's still on the table. He's not 100% trying to trade Juan Soto, but he also knows the reality of having a guy for one more year when, he may get an overwhelming offer for someone, that's part of the equation. He can't just say, right now, I'm putting my head down and we're riding with Juan Soto this year no matter what. He has to listen at this point.
Got to
offers that could be something that helps the Padres in the long term, because there's no guarantee that you have Juan Soto past this season.
No, and getting that phone call from whoever it may be, whether it's Craig Breslow or whether it's Jed Hoyer or whether it's Brian Cashman, when you say, okay, let's do it, what a sinking feeling that will be. And, the return, you're gonna need 5 years to see. You know what the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs are going to get with Juan Soto next season. Yet you talk about an adjustment period. His adjustment period is what it is. The guy's still an unbelievably elite player who doesn't swing at bad pitches out of the zone ever. I mean, he is going to help any lineup he goes into. Defensively, sure, he's got his issues, but it's going to be very hard for the fan base to say, oh, cool, we did get 2 starting pitchers back and an outfielder for Juan Soto. They may turn out to be world beaters, but it's going to be a while. So it's not an enviable position at all. Also, extending him to a huge contract, also not awesome. I mean, it's just not. So this is where we are. You planned on trying to really win a World Series with him here, and you might have one more crack at it next season.
Right. And if they
do that, have a ball.
Yeah, you're very happy if they keep Juan Soto, win a World Series, and then, they can't sign him as a free agent.
See you later, Bob.
You thank him, and you still have that World Series banner up at Petco Park. But again, that was the plan for last year, and we saw how that went, even with Juan Soto.
I got to tell you, though, the shot that Boras took, he's their 1-900 OPS player, was like, Manny and Tatis and those guys are like, really? Okay. I mean, it's you don't want to pit guys against each other, but he's not wrong either. He's not wrong.
Last season, I mean, you go the season before, sure, and Manny was over 900, and you go 2 seasons before Fernando's missed year, he was over 900. You don't have to be an over 900 guy every single year to be considered, I think, a 900 OPS player. But last season, that was true. Juan Soto was the only guy who finished above 900 OPS for the San Diego Padres.
Exactly.
Had the best season of the Big Four.
Yep.
Pretty clear at the end. At the beginning, we weren't sure who was really going to break out, but in the end, it was clear that Juan Soto had the best season of any of those guys.
No question. No question about it.
So the general managers' meetings, I guess, are over. Based on the reporting from Stephanie Epstein, I didn't see like an official statement from Major League Baseball saying we've canceled everything, but she did tweet last night that due to the stomach virus that apparently was going around the resort there in Scottsdale, they decided to close up shop a little bit early, stop putting people in ballrooms together and having them pass around whatever they're passing around at the moment. So.
You didn't even make one doo-doo pun either. I was pretty disappointed. You guess you weren't feeling well.
Guess not.
I saw some good ones.
Did you?
Good ones. Yeah. I saw in-play runs scored.
Oh, that was good.
Genius.
In-play runs.
I went Scottsdale, more like S-Dale. Not my best work, but I wasn't feeling particularly clever. Yesterday.
Even Jeff Passan tweeted out an S word yesterday, accidentally.
He did. Said Ron Washington will get one more S with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And he had to go back and redo that tweet. But, yeah, we haven't talked about Wash yet, getting another opportunity to manage in the big leagues for the Angels. I did tweet about that and said no team will have better infield drills. I could watch him teach infield all day long. I mean, the Tony Gwynn video that's out, and it makes the scene about every 3 months or so, Tony telling his guys how to hit and be balanced and knob to the ball. You watch those Wash videos, and he's working with those guys. It's like spa music for me. When I watch it, it makes me feel so good inside to watch him work, and he's got his work cut out for him. Certainly, they have a lot of roster needs as well, and they're going to be losing Shohei Ohtani more than likely. But Ron Washington getting another chance, I think, ultimately is a pretty good thing for baseball.
Yeah, I agree. What is he, 71 years old now? And it's been a while, 2014, since he last managed with the Texas Rangers. But I mean, what the Alex Anthopoulos, I think, said yesterday, like he said, this is a huge loss
Huge.
for us, for
He
the
said-
Atlanta Braves.
He said there's text messages going around right now from guys in our organization that are extremely bummed, and then there's text messages in Anaheim for guys that are really, really excited to play for Wash. So, one of the obviously elder statesmen of baseball, been around the game a long time, got an out away from winning a World Series with the Texas Rangers, and Nelly Cruz misjudged the ball, and the rest is history. But yeah, Wash. I hope that he's not scapegoated for a bad run in Anaheim. Not saying he'll have one, but if he does, I hope that's not the case.
And remember, he was a finalist 4 years ago when Jay Stingler was hired as the Padres manager. They were very close to making Wash the guy as well here in San Diego. But he's back in. We're back in just a second. I got a Throwback Thursday game of Real or Fake that actually relates to the general managers meetings in Scottsdale. Chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Got a crazy text from Woods last night. You were watching basketball?
I was watching Wemby last night.
In November?
Yeah.
Didn't have a very good game.
He didn't. I wanted to bring this up. It might make me sound foolish, but they're like, well, I mean, it's Madison Square Garden after all, and, Giannis came here as a rookie, and he got bodied too. And I'm like, out of all of the professional sports, does pro basketball, is it like, ooh, we got to go into it's the Knicks at the end of the day. Like, yeah, you're going into Madison Square Garden. You got people yelling at you and stuff, but is it like the hardest environment?
No.
It's
that's
iconic.
It's
I think
iconic.
it's like playing Carnegie Hall.
Okay.
It's so
iconic.
Yeah, it's so iconic that you may be a little overwhelmed the first time you're
That's
there.
fair.
Think football. Think you're a top quarterback, just drafted, feeling good, confident. You're playing a crappy Packers team, but it's still Lambeau in the snow. You're like,
But see,
this
like
is
football, you're like, these people are dressed up in like riot gear and screaming. They're insane. Home field advantage in college football. They're like, oh man, this is just the Garden. We'll eat a guy up. I was watching last night. He didn't. The 10 minutes I watched, I went, bro, you're 9 feet tall. Why are you the most passive? Guys were driving the lane, and he was just standing there, and I'm like, stick that arm out. Like, he was not aggressive at all. He airballed a 3 when I was watching. I was like, all right, your best
I
game.
did think it was telling that even with probably his worst game, still ended up like 14 points, 9 boards. I mean, when you can make your bad games look like that in the stat sheet, you're going to put up a really good season in the end.
Do you guys also feel when you watch him, I feel nervous when I watch him. I feel like he's going to snap in half.
Yeah.
I think you take Ben's calves, you put them on Wemby.
Will you donate your calves?
Would you donate your calves? Half of your
He
calves.
seems, he does a ton of training, though, designed to try to keep him healthy and, offset that disadvantage you have when you're so tall.
Yeah.
Try to keep, the stabilization and everything that goes, with the moving pieces of basketball. So we'll see if he's successful. But, he's been working at this from a young age. He's still a baby.
I'll say
He's
this.
a baby.
He's a baby.
I saw a crazy slide compilation on Instagram maybe a week ago when the NBA season was kind of getting underway, and it was showing current star players like Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, etc., and what they looked like their rookie year, like their bodies. I mean, Victor Wembanyama will look like a different person in 10 years.
5 years, 10 years.
I remember Tom Brady's his combine picture.
It looks like me with
Like,
my
if I can
shirt
find
off.
the picture of Giannis, like, you know what Giannis looks like now. If you saw what he looked like as a little young pup
Little dude,
in a Bucks jersey, you're like, that's not the same guy. Or he took steroids.
Yeah, he got ejected last night. I saw that.
He
To
did.
be honest,
When
yeah.
your job, though, is 24/7, just to be in as good a shape as you can and play the best basketball you can, there's time in the day to bulk up and in the off season to work on.
He looks like he's going to break in half, but I really enjoy watching a man of his size and stature play. And so, yeah, I saw that the game was on. It was pretty slow sports night locally, and I was like, I'll check this out. He's in the Garden.
Look at that little kid.
Oh my God, that's Giannis?
Yeah.
Jeez, dude. Yeah, he looks like a little bub.
Yeah. Let's play some of that David Sampson audio.
Yeah,
Paulie's
this is
found it and
pretty
kind of
interesting.
condensed it down before we play Real or Fake, which is coming up in a couple of
So
minutes.
this was from like 4 years ago.
Was it?
What?
yes.
Oh, this
I
wasn't
thought it was
new.
yesterday.
Yeah, this is older.
It was just going around. It was 2019 because he's talking about Anthony Rendon the whole time.
That's true.
Like,
That's true. Yeah.
But this was David Sampson, who was a GM or a PBO for the Marlins.
Yeah, he's president.
And he's been part of the Dan Lebitard crew for several years. He has a podcast on their channel. And so this was, again, 2019, I believe. And he was talking about, it's titled, what is it like negotiating with Scott Boras?
Sure.
And we skipped through the first part of it. But he basically says, when we're drafting guys, we have our draft board and our list of guys. If it's a tie between player A and player B,
Yeah,
they are
Ben or Woods.
Ben or Woods, comparable at the plate, comparable in the field,
Yep.
comparable speed. But Ben is repped by Scott Boras and Woods is represented by somebody else. They're going to lean towards Woods.
They will.
And I
Because
thought
it's
that was
just,
fascinating.
they just said it's almost impossible.
Because we know when his contract comes up, it's going to be a nightmare.
Nightmare. He's
But-
a nightmare to work with.
Anyways, here's a little clip, and we can
like
pause
this.
and go through this.
If we were looking at signing Rendon, we would call Scott Boras, and we would say, and we would not wait until after the World Series when he becomes a free agent.
Right.
We would make it known
Tampering.
during the course of the season. You may think that that's tampering if you're the Nationals. Well, every team tampers. Every single team tampers every single day of the year. It happens. We all deny it because it's against the rules.
I think that's interesting.
It's massively
David
interesting.
Sampson is a problematic character.
He's
in
been
ways.
excommunicated from baseball at
But-
this point.
That side of fact, that's fact aside, there's no reason to not believe him.
Yeah, he
here.
did
Like,
it.
So
he did this
did all
job.
this.
Essentially, Scott Boras has probably been contacted by other GMs who said, we're definitely going to be in the Soto Sweepstakes
Yes.
when he's a free agent.
Correct.
Which is against the rules, but definitely is happening.
So we would tell Boras during the course of a season, we have interest in Rendon. He would put us on a list. We would go on our way. Then, as soon as the World Series would end, we would call Boras, and we would say this would be the GM of the team. We always had the GM deal with Boras. The assistant GM would deal with Boras' associates, and Boras himself, when it was time to negotiate, would deal with me or with the owner. So Boras would know we'd have interest. We would go at Boras with an offer. The offer would be, when you know it's going to take 7 years, the first offer is 4 years, $20 million a year. Boras would say, I do not respond to that offer. That does not even merit a response. But that's a response to us.
Indeed.
He knows we have room to go, and we do. He knows we've got average annual value and also years. We then submit another offer. This time we'd go to 5 years, 25 a year, 125 over 5. He would then say, that's not going to get it done. You're getting closer in years, but he would give us an entire list of players of why Rendon would not be at 25 a year. But we knew that Rendon for us was $32 million. We were going to stop at 32 times 6. He then calls and says, listen, there's great interest from the Rangers, Nationals, Dodgers, Angels, Phillies. He's doing that in order to get us to cave. We then call Boras back and say, listen, we're willing to go to 6 years at $30 million. That's it, 180 over 6. He would say, is that a final? And we would say, we're going to put it in writing. This is our offer. But we wouldn't say final because we knew we had one place to go if we really wanted him. Boras then goes around to the other team, circles back to us, and says, okay, if you want him, it's going to take 245 over 735 a year. We then would have an opportunity to say, no, we have no interest at that level. However, let us know if you don't get that from another team. If Boras calls us back because he doesn't have it, we know that he does not have it. If he calls us back and says he has it, but it's with another team, we know he doesn't have it.
It's fantastic.
Fascinating.
It's so good, man. As maybe the worst negotiator of all time, I listen to it and I go, I don't have the intestinal
Couldn't do it.
fortitude, and representing somebody, trying to
And ultimately, what David Sampson's saying is
Poker.
everything coming out of his mouth is complete BS.
yeah, he's playing poker, and he doesn't lose. He doesn't lose
Make
a
you
lot of
think
hands.
that there are many offers, and if you don't act fast, you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
And
Exactly
sometimes
right.
it's going to be true. Obviously, if it's never true, then it wouldn't work. But it's true enough that he can play the teams against each other. I mean, he's doing his job. Every agent should be doing what Scott Boras is doing for their clients.
You wonder how many times he's gotten burned, and had to go back hat in hand. I don't feel like it's been a lot. He's whatever he's got the gift of poker face, being able to sell his players, and yeah, I mean, just what he got for some of the guys that he's gotten is insane. I mean, the Hosmer deal, obviously massive.
And if you're a player, like, you want him to rep you,
no doubt,
right?
Did he had Profar, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did.
That's
Didn't work out
Now he
that
has,
well for
now he has Nick
Jerickson.
Martinez.
Yeah, now he's got Nick Martinez.
All right, speaking of general managers, that's the theme for today's Throwback Thursday game of Real or Fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. Yeah, you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
First, I'll tell Rick that he is our contestant this morning. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good morning.
Good, buddy.
All right, good luck. If you can just get 4 out of 7 of our Real or Fake questions correct, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing 2-night stay at Resorts World Las Vegas and 2 tickets to Luke Bryan on the final shows of his record-breaking Las Vegas headlining engagement at Resorts World Theater. It is December 29th through January 2nd. Tickets are on sale at rwlasvegas.com. All right, Rick. I mean, Woods, me, Paul, I feel like we know baseball pretty well. We follow this sport as intently as anything.
Some would disagree,
But baseball's general manager meetings are wrapping up in Scottsdale. How well do you know your MLB GMs?
Oh.
Today on Real or Fake.
This is tough.
Today on Real or Fake, I'll give you a name. You need to tell me if they are a real Major League Baseball general manager.
Okay.
Of course, some of them are serving under a president of baseball operations.
That's true.
Or if it's a fake. In this case, a CEO from a non-baseball Fortune 500 company. So, real baseball GMs are what we're looking for. Rick, are you ready to play?
I can help you too,
Yeah.
maybe, potentially.
Do it. Let's do it,
All right,
guys.
round number 1. Real or fake GM? Doug McMillan. Real or fake, Rick?
Woodsy?
Oh, God. Dang it. It literally does not ring one bell. Not one bell is going off in my head. I'm going to say fake.
He says fake. Rick, what do you say?
Yeah, let's go with fake. I don't recognize the name either.
He is the CEO of Walmart.
Yes.
Not an MLB GM.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
1 point
All
for
right,
Rick. All right,
all
3
right.
more, and you are in. Round number
All right,
2.
let's go.
Bill Schmidt. Real or fake MLB GM? Bill Schmidt.
I don't know. That doesn't sound. What do you think, Woods?
I think it's real.
He thinks it's
Bill
real.
Schmidt.
Rick, what do you think?
Let's go with real. I'm gonna go with Woodsy on this one.
Yeah. Bill Schmidt is the
That's
general
right.
manager of the Colorado Rockies. All right, that's 2 for 2. You are on fire. All right, round number 3. Jim Farley. Real or fake MLB GM? Jim Farley.
Well, that sounds. Let's go with real.
That's CEO of Ford, Jim Farley. So, no, that's a fake. That's our first miss, though. No worries. That's not a problem. We go to round number 4. Let's try Marvin Ellison. Real or fake MLB GM? Marvin Ellison.
What do you think, Woodsy?
I think fake. I
thinks fake.
feel like I've heard that name, but I don't think he's associated with baseball. I could look like a moron here. It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, I could take a pitch here. Let's go with fake.
Fake is correct.
Yeah.
Lowe's.
Fake, but you haven't
Lowe's.
heard his
CEO.
name.
Lowe's Home
I
Improvement.
have heard that name.
All right. All you need is one more correct.
Big Lowe's guy now.
Shouldn't be too hard.
Just fix
Mr. Fix-It.
Yeah,
let's
Mr.
try.
Fix-It.
Let's try Jeff Greenberg. Real or fake MLB GM? Jeff Greenberg.
What do you think, Woods?
Jeff Greenberg. That sounds real to me, man.
Let's go with real. Ben.
You guys are too good today. Yeah, GM of the Tigers. Congratulations, Rick. You have qualified for the trip to Las Vegas on a well-played game of Real or Fake. Stay on the line. Paulie will get your information during the break. Woodsy, I'll give you the last couple here.
Okay.
Matt Arnold,
Real.
Brewers GM. Very good. And finally, Ross Atkins.
Real.
Yeah, Blue Jays GM. Nicely done.
Thank you very
Woods.
much.
Well done.
6 out of 7 today.
Student of the game, as you know.
You and Rick, very well played game of Real or Fake. I honestly would not have done as well. I didn't think that Jeff Greenberg was a real
Those are tough,
GM.
man. Those are really, really
Ross
tough.
Atkins could have gotten me. I would have said, he's probably the CEO of Ross.
That's not how it works, dude.
Atkins.
Atkins.
Or
yeah.
Atkins, yeah.
Diet Plan Atkins.
That's not how it
Is that
works.
he named it after himself or something? Marvin Ellison, I would have said, oh, yeah, he sounds like a GM.
Maybe it was when the company started, the Henry Ford, right? But after time, they start to disappear.
All right.
It's a good one, though. I like that real
All right,
thing.
let's take a quick time out. We'll come back. Don't Do This is coming up next, although I'm looking forward to the bottom of the hour and our appearance from Ben Borass, the lowest level
Just
associate.
nodded. I think boogers came out. I'm not kidding.
The lowest level associate of the Boras Corporation is going to be with us. And,
The new guy.
yeah. Oh, I got a college basketball DDT from the
Okay.
Mountain West that I
Perfect.
think you're going to enjoy
All right.
when we come back from an Aztec rival. Next with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. All right, a couple of stories that make you shake your head. This one surprised me. Well, maybe not, but University of Nevada, Coach Steve Alford, had their opener this week against Sacramento State. Kind of a fairly close game. The Wolfpack pulled away in the end to win, but the game featured a very unusual delay, Woods. The Lawler Event Center in Reno, where the Wolfpack play, is infested with bats, and they can't get rid of them.
Saw this.
And during the second half, the bats started swooping down and dive bombing the players during the game. And the referee said, "All right, we need to pull everybody off the court until the bats go away." They've been trying to get rid of them. They've tried like noisemakers to scare them out of the building. That hasn't worked. And Steve Alford's getting pretty upset about it. He said, "It's embarrassing. We're a big-time program. This needs to be fixed. We shouldn't be dealing with bats," but they can't get rid of the bats. So, San Diego State plays there in February. Hopefully they'll I guess it's more of a problem in the fall. That's bat season in Nevada as opposed to in the spring. But
any experience with bats?
I think maybe growing up we had some in our neighborhood back in Olivenhain.
Just telling Bo this the other day. When I was a kid, there was a field in Connecticut we used to go and play football in. But at dusk, when the sun would set, it was getting a little dark, you could take a rock. It would be clear sky, and you take a rock and throw it up, and out of nowhere, bats would flock to it, man, and it would creep you out, and like everyone would run away.
I'm good.
I don't suffer. I can't do it. Any vermin. You've seen how I've reacted
basically
to
flying rodents,
flying rats. I'm out.
Now, it should only be a problem at least for the next couple of years because Nevada is building a new arena. It's at like one of the downtown casinos. They're actually like building a new arena for Nevada basketball.
It's batless.
That should be batless, yeah.
It's important when you're playing.
Balls, no bats.
Yeah, balls, but no bats, please.
Right.
I can't play you. We can't play you the audio.
No.
But it was released yesterday from Scottsdale Police. I think we had the story when it happened as just a don't do this. Alex Galchenyuk, who was a Phoenix Coyote hockey player. For those of you not in the know on Alex Galchenyuk, pretty talented guy. Made a lot of money in the NHL. Ben was playing in Phoenix, and Scottsdale got him. It happens. It happens. It'll get you from time to time. He was pulled over. He struck a sign, a curb while driving his BMW. Then he switched positions with the man sitting in the passenger seat. The car then drove away before getting pulled over. So they arrested him. He is out of his mind. They have released the body cam footage. I can't play it. It's full of
couldn't even attempt.
Full of racist comments to the African American arresting officer. It was also he's from Russia, and he's like, my Russian brethren will literally chop you into pieces, and your wife.
I think
and
that's
your
another
daughter.
crime, threatening an officer.
That's
as
the
well.
one he pled guilty to.
Yeah. Picture him sitting in the back of the cop car, just
handcuffed.
Like, you know it's true, right?
Yeah, you know it's true.
You know one phone call and you're dead.
You're dead. Your bloodline ends today, is what he said. We can't play it. Can't even edit. It would have taken probably a month to edit it.
And it would just beep.
It's out there if you feel the need to go listen to it. It's out there. They released it yesterday. He did release a statement back in July, Ben, and he said, look, my behavior last week was deeply offensive, uncalled for, horrendous, embarrassing. He checked himself into the NHLPA assistance program, hoping to get the help he needs. Yeah, you hope. That feels to me more like just a substance abuse issue, more deep-seated type situation there for Alex Galchenyuk. He's now playing in St. Petersburg, Russia, so he's been exiled to play over in Russia.
All right, finally a little do this, and they're not trying to be
mega do
passive aggressive. I just think this is a great thing to do.
I'm not trying to be passive aggressive. I'm actually going to be passive
well, it
aggressive.
didn't work out. Philadelphia Phillies didn't get to the World Series this year. Took a little step back, but Bryce Harper, who came back and played first base, following his surgery. Apparently, that's now going to be a full-time position change. Dave Dombrowski made that announcement yesterday at the baseball general managers meetings that Harper is just going to stay at first base because he thinks it's for the best thing for the team. Makes the team stronger overall to have Bryce Harper at first base. Bryce okay with it, not putting up a fuss about changing positions, even though he's a two-time MVP. He's okay with it in the prime of his career, going and moving over to first base. It does mean that the Phillies will be moving on from free agent Rhys Hoskins, who, of course, was hurt much of last season, but is on the market there. And, I mean, I don't know if the Padres can afford Rhys Hoskins, but first base is certainly an area they could upgrade offensively, and that's a name that is now out there for discussion this offseason.
Yeah, I think Rhys is pretty bummed, too. He had expressed some interest in staying in Philly, and really, why wouldn't you? You know, if you're Rhys Hoskins and you know, you've been with that squad for a while, and they've played really good baseball, haven't been able to finish the job. But, yeah, I mean, I think Bryce Harper, yeah, a lot of credit goes to him. You know, he got his money and is now willing to do whatever the team needs.
Yeah,
so.
Dombrowski says, we think he projects to be an outstanding first baseman. He's willing to do whatever for the organization, and we just think for us it makes us a better club now and as we go forward.
For sure.
It gives us a really good athletic infield that can be together for years.
Yeah, no doubt.
They got the plan. We'll see if it works out, but you like the attitude of two-time MVP, you know, not sticking his feet saying, I shouldn't move. And same for Fernando Tatis Jr., who did it last year, coming up as a shortstop and then making that adjustment to right field and being outstanding out there.
Man, it's not. I think you should only look at it as a sign of it's a good thing that you're able to move positions, that an organization believes that you have the ability to go do that, because it's so hard to do. You don't find it a lot in other sports, right? I mean, some in college football and pro football, but for the most part, man, yeah, they'll move a right guard to right tackle. You know what I mean? Like, that happens, but for you just like the attitude, the overall attitude of saying, sure, whatever we need to do to win, and I'm down to commit myself to it.
I will throw in a little addendum on do this for the USD Toreros. And I will admit, I have not paid much attention to the basketball team this season. Steve Lavin's second season as coach at USD. There was so much turnover on the roster from last year to this year. I only recognize one name, the junior Wayne McKinney III, who's back. Every other name is like a transfer or a freshman that has come in. They lost a few guys to the portal. It's a completely different team. Now, the team wasn't very good last year, so that may be a good thing, but they won last night over Jackson State 87-61. It's a SWAC opponent, you know, and they should win those games. But they're off to a 2-0 start and got 20 points from a freshman named Dragos Lungu. And they're off to a good start this season with the win at the Jenny Craig Pavilion, and wanted to just give them a little nod and shout out this morning. Plus, we have a pair of tickets to give away for Saturday's game between USD and UCSD. Those are the two of the three Division I basketball programs in town squaring off against each other. It's at UCSD's Lion Tree Arena. They're in La Jolla. You can get tickets to the Crosstown Showdown at UCSDTritons.com. But if you're interested in checking out some college basketball on Saturday night, you can win them right now. Be the third caller at 833-288-0973. It's a great little arena at UCSD. They're taking that next step up in the Big West now. I think next year is the first year they're eligible for the NCAA tournament. If they do win the conference tournament in the Big West, they're in that transition phase right now. But D1 basketball in town, it's not just San Diego State. You got USD and UCSD, and got tickets to give away. 833-288-0973 if you want to check it out this Saturday night at Lion Tree Arena on the campus of UC San Diego.
Good deal.
All right, when we come back, the pun master himself, Scott Boras, was making his puns yesterday. And then low-level Boras agency staffer Ben Borass will join us. Borass. Ben Borass will join us with some of the lesser clients in the stable.
Yeah.
But everyone needs their moment in the sun.
Sure.
Even if Scott doesn't give it to them.
Sure.
Ben will give it to them coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. The best football show with Brian Baldinger wraps up the world in 15 minutes so you can be smarter at the water cooler. Join Baldy as he explains the biggest stories from multiple vantage points and the ripple effects it has throughout football. Dissects the NFL's most exciting moments and top players as only a film junkie can. Follow the best football show with Brian Baldinger in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't like to talk at the water cooler. I go to fill up my water, and people want to chat. And I'm like, I just want to.
You're hoping no one's there.
Done.
I got. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm on a time crunch.
Everyone was. We had a big station meeting yesterday at Channel 10.
You did.
So everyone was there, and so I went to the water cooler, and there was like 7 people standing around talking, like the sales people that you don't usually see. They're out with clients.
Yeah.
Working remotely nowadays, and you don't see them much. But everyone was there yesterday.
Literally,
it was right around the water cooler. It was like 6 people. I'm going, I have never seen any of you people here. I don't even know. I mean, Michael I recognized, and then there was this guy who walked by, and I have like no idea who you are. And then there was this girl who walked by, and I have no idea who you are.
Here
either.
or there?
No,
at Channel 10.
Channel 10. It's not just here. Don't worry. I've worked there for 20 years, and I still don't know some of the people I work with. So don't feel bad, fellow audations, that I don't know your name. I don't know other people's names that I've worked with for 20 years at Channel 10.
It's amazing. You avoid the water. Did you just turn and walk away?
I was very silent
near the water because you don't
filled my big old jug of water quietly and then walked back.
Because you get the.
I'm thirsty.
Me too. I'm running low. I need to go to the water cooler. I should do it before everyone gets in. But no, they hey, so who are we gonna get for manager? I'm like, just tune the show in. I don't know what to tell you. I have no idea. If I knew it, I would break it.
So, you gonna keep Soto or what?
Yeah, it's like I'm on a time. I'm on a time crunch here, man.
Just trying to get my water.
I gotta go pee. Might have to poop. I gotta eat this yogurt. I got 3 minutes to do it all. All right, I gotta get the hell out of here right now.
I didn't say it, but I was thinking, free lunch with the meeting. Everyone's here today.
Oh, isn't that how that works?
Doesn't usually come into the office.
All right, give me some of this.
I'm a bad coworker. Well, let's start with the master.
The master.
First, the master.
The best.
Scott Boras, who at least unleashed a couple of his puns. I think it was just a teaser for the winter meetings next month in Nashville, but had a couple of his, he wanted to bring up a couple of the premium clients of the Boras Corporation.
A famous comedian stopping by open mic night a couple weeks
testing
before
some
a
material.
tour, just workshopping
some stuff.
Yeah, so we got Scott Boras here.
What do you think the chances are something gets done with Pete Alonso before his free agency?
Actually, I met yesterday at length with David, and we had a long conversation about his philosophies and ideology, and he certainly views Pete as a core part of their team. And we just kind of let him know that when it comes to the polar bear, we're not in contract hibernation.
Oh, God bless. Man, okay.
Well done.
This next one, if it's the one I think it is my favorite. It is the one.
But when he came to Chicago, he just feasted on major league pitching.
Bellinger.
And really, I think Chicago got the comforts of a full belly. So they're going to have to loosen their belts to keep Bellinger.
A full belly. So I was at home yesterday and had a DM from one of our tier ones, Noe. And he sent me the Scott Boras audio and said, I feel like this is how Ben would speak to the media if he was an agent. And I go, ha, 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 100%. And then the light bulb just goes, ding. And I go, yep, thank you. I said, you've just inspired me. And basically what we want to do now is introduce our tier ones to the newest, brand new executive for Boras Corp. And we will do that after traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a crash on the northbound side of the 805 just before Orange Avenue. Those vehicles are over the right shoulder. Bigger problems up ahead, though. We've got this fatal accident involving a motorcycle right before Imperial. Still has the HOV lane blocked. Northbound side of the 5 accident just before Mild Cars Way. That's in the center divide. Now collision blocking the fast lane on westbound King Freeway. This is just before College. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for gathering around. I am Ben Borass. I am one of the newest associates of the Boras Corporation. And I have been assigned some of our exciting new talents in our stable. Maybe not the names like Cody Bellinger or Pete Alonso, but these are very important clients that my uncle has given me to work on here during this offseason.
Mr. Boras, Stephen Woods, 97.3 The Fan in San Diego, home of the San Diego Padres. Quickly, you say your uncle Scott Boras, but there's an extra S on the back of your name, Ben Borass. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't want there to be any appearance of nepotism, so we added the extra S at the end.
Just one S.
So Boras. Yeah,
okay.
Boras.
Well, listen, we've got a really big platform here and all these reporters here, and we would love to hear about some of the exciting free agents that you, the most brand new member of Boras Corp, have been assigned.
I've been put in charge of a player at every single position around the diamond. I have 10 clients for you, and I'd like to extol some of their virtues right now. Starting with one of our newest clients behind the plate. You might be familiar with the name Victor Caratini.
Absolutely.
He's a 24-carat star behind the plate who's just the kind of depth your team needs for Victor E.
Oh, no.
Victor E.
Victor
E.
Our welcome new client, Joey Gallo, our designated hitter.
Ben and Wood's favorite, by the way.
Like
Big fan of Joey Gallo.
Huge fan.
What's Joey Gallo up to?
Like a
Mr.
fine
Boras?
wine, Joey Gallo just keeps getting better with age. But don't expect to land this grape crusher at $2 chuck prices.
You are the worst. You're fitting in very nicely at Boras Corp.
Welcome to our former Padre here, first baseman G-Man Choi in our Boras Corporation stable. G-Man is a He-Man at the plate with his powerful swing. By the power of Grayskull, you'll be jumping for Choi if you land this premier talent.
Jumping for Choi. I think he got one hit with the Padres.
Two.
So
Two
hits,
in the same game.
We look forward to
That should be an interesting negotiation.
It should be. Jumping for Choi, by the way.
I will be also representing shortstop Elvis Andrews.
He still plays.
He does,
Wow.
apparently, yes. If you're looking for a little less conversation and a little more action, Elvis should enter your building. He'll have the competition all shook up with his play at shortstop. But act now or it's Heartbreak Hotel for your front office.
This is better than I ever imagined it would be.
Ben Borass is a
Ben
genius.
Borass, I mean, promotion is coming so soon.
My next client's a pretty big name now. Third baseman Justin Turner. He'll arrive just in time to help Turner your team's fortunes around. But don't skimp on the green if you want Big Red to join your lineup over the holidays.
He should hire you. Like, you should hire him today.
In the outfield, very exciting client, Tommy Pham.
Ooh.
Get ready for one fantastic signing. Tommy isn't deaf, dumb, or blind, but sure plays a mean baseball.
I hate you. Are you kidding me?
Then we go to our arms. We've got a starting pitcher in the stable. Hyunjin Ryu. You'll rue the day you missed out on this pitcher. He may not throw at 100 miles per hour, but this gin is still the perfect tonic for your rotation.
That's literally one of the most clever things I've ever heard in my whole life. Hey, read that one again for Hyunjin Ryu. It's my favorite.
You'll rue the day you missed out on this pitcher. He may not throw at 100 miles per hour, but this gin is still the perfect tonic for your rotation.
Are you kidding me?
It's brilliant. 100 miles an hour.
Mr. Borass, Paul Reindl, 97.3 The Fan, Padres Radio Network. Who do you have in the bullpen?
We do have a reliever for your consideration this offseason.
Need some help here in San Diego.
One Dylan Floro. The ceiling remains high on Floro, who will be dealing off the mound in a variety of roles out of your bullpen. Don't let your jaw hit the Floro when you miss out on this arm.
Stupid.
And those are my 10 clients that I'll be representing for the Boras Corporation.
I will say this
offseason.
Mr. Borass, you will be climbing the corporate ladder very, very quickly.
I wish it was just that easy. If
Is that
all it took
natural,
was
or
bad puns.
is that part of orientation at Boras Corp?
Honestly, I did that in about 8 minutes.
It
just came so naturally. It just flowed out of me.
I texted them, and Ben goes, he writes back, give me 5 minutes. Paulie texts me back 8 minutes later. It's like, they're here, and they're spectacular. I hadn't seen them. Oh, my brain just almost 100 miles an hour is unbelievable.
Read Tommy Pham again.
Just incredible.
Get ready for one fantastic signing. Tommy isn't deaf, dumb, or blind, but he sure plays a mean baseball.
Oh, my God. Somebody goes, Ben wrote these? Yes. Ben wrote these.
Literally in like 7 minutes.
That is...
I wonder how long it takes Uncle Scott to come up with his. He never tells me like how his process works.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants me to surpass him. He's afraid of the rising star in the stable.
Full belly was a really good one.
That was
from
pretty
him.
good.
They're going to have to loosen the belt if they want to keep belly.
That
was
pretty good.
Yours were better. I'll give you that right now. You are a better pun.
These are the kind of players that don't normally get the pun-tastic treatment.
They don't.
They just sign under the radar deals with whoever their agents are in the offseason. Everyone deserves to have some Scott Boras puns said about them in the offseason when they're a free agent. And all of those guys are legitimate free agents right now who are available to be signed.
Is that right?
Yes,
they all are real free agents.
They're all real free agents on the market right now.
Anybody on that list that you'd like?
Maybe, I don't know, we might rue the day we don't sign Hyun Jin because
True.
the Padres need some pitching.
We do need some arms. Holy cow.
I think he's getting a little long in the tooth, but...
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
And maybe more so after that segment. That was really some of your best work.
Thank you.
Really, really some of
well done.
Your best work. He was unhinged yesterday, Scott Boras was. He has a lot of opinions on things. And one thing that he tweeted, or he said yesterday in his press conference was that he thinks it would be a good idea, Ben, for the World Series to move to a neutral site. And the amateur draft moved away from the All-Star Weekend. I've got my friend's an agent, and he would probably really enjoy the amateur draft being moved away from All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, they only recently moved it to All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to, discuss whether that works or not. I think it was probably better off where it was earlier in the season to get it done and focus on the All-Star Weekend. The whole neutral site World Series thing, though.
So it's wild. Like, obviously, they do it in football. They do it.
The Super Bowl is at a neutral site,
and the national championship game in college football.
But they're one. That's one game.
One game. It's one stinking game, and I can't. And I tweeted, wouldn't it be the Padres' luck to get to a World Series and then they're in Baltimore? They're playing at Camden Yards or whatever it's called now.
Now, what are there are pros? There's always pros and cons with everything.
There's no pros for that if it's your squad.
No, but I mean, a neutral site World Series, you avoid the possibility of like a frozen World Series. Like if you're it's Boston and it's late October
November.
and all of a sudden it's 32 degrees and it's horrible baseball weather. You do hate the idea of having to decide your championship in a 30-mile-an-hour wind with like hail coming sideways.
Part of the charm, though, I think.
I'm not saying it's a huge pro to avoid that, but that would be one of the pros. Obviously, you could do more planning in advance. You would know probably years in advance where the World Series is going to be, as opposed to 4 days in advance, depending on who wins the National and American League Championship Series. So you could probably build some things up a little bit more, make it into more of an event if you did it at a neutral site. But
yep.
I do think the cons far outweigh the pros. The biggest for me, and I would think San Diego would be an ideal site for the neutral World Series. We'd probably get it, fairly often, which would be exciting. But the difference between trying to sell out 7 games in the same stadium over and over and over again, that could be, let's say it's Mets against, Red Sox in the World Series, and it's in San Diego. That's tons of travel for all those fans across the country for, a whole 7-game series. Are you going to be able to sell out every game of a World Series if it's at a neutral site? You can sell out one Super Bowl, one college football playoff championship, but can you sell out 7 neutral site games in a row?
Think about the revenue it's costing the team. The team that made the World Series. Fenway Park's not going to.
Yeah, the revenue is the revenue, and I'm sure maybe it would be shared with those teams.
Yeah, maybe.
But to me, the charm of the World Series is that it's, You get the fans that are there, and you get a home field advantage for the games that you're at home. And
it didn't matter for the Rangers; they won every game on the road, so, for Rangers fans. But no, I think that's one of his more cockamamie ideas. Is a neutral.
Did he even
site
explain
World Series.
why he wanted to
not
do
that
that?
I saw. I just saw the
If we had
quote.
just had a World Series in which the weather was terrible, but it wasn't. It was.
No.
Actually perfect in both Texas and Arizona. They
Yeah.
had the roof open in Arizona. It was a great World Series for home teams this year. There was no problems at all that I could tell.
Yeah, I saw the quote, and in typical media fashion, I tweeted it, made a comment, took it out of context, I'm sure. So, but no, that's a terrible idea. He has a lot of good ideas.
I mean,
think,
for an
but-
agent, I guess it's if you want to be there, it's inconvenient not knowing until the ALCS and NLCS are wrapped up, where you're going to have to set
He's
up
fine.
your hotel suites that you're going to meet with everybody.
He's fine. If anyone is fine. He also, what was the other thing he said? Oh, he did blame the pitch clock on the, quote, rash of injuries.
I saw that. Is there a rash of injuries, though? Has anyone done a study? Were there more pitching injuries last year than other seasons? Because there were always a lot of pitching injuries,
Always.
and I never saw any data that told me, but last season was much worse in terms of pitching injuries.
Now you want to look at the WBC as a problem. We heard that from Skip. Told us, man. Yeah, I mean WBC just completely wrecks some of the pitchers. It didn't happen to all of them, certainly, but it happened to some pretty dang big ones. In Shohei Ohtani being one, and of course Sandy Alcantara being another. There was many. Yu Darvish, he didn't pitch much in the WBC, but did not get off to the.
But he also had to travel to Japan, and
throw and
a lot of different things that the normal spring training would have accomplished in Peoria.
Exactly. So that's something that you could certainly look at. But the pitch clock, I mean, Blake Snell was healthy the entire year. He's going to win a Cy Young. He's also your client. I think the pitch clock certainly helped a lot of guys too. But he has a lot of opinions.
Blake was not a fan of it. Remember
Hated
at the
it.
beginning of the season,
Hated
he was as outspoken as anyone about feeling uncomfortable with it.
Look at him now.
Turned out to be an okay thing for Blake Snell by the end of the season.
I saw that stat go around yesterday. He walked 99 guys and only allowed 12 of them to score. Or something. Just incredible season.
No, I have no idea if it had anything to do with the pitch
No,
clock.
I don't either.
But you didn't hear Blake say much about it late in the season as he was racking up another 7 innings and no runs allowed, and 6 innings and no runs allowed, and
13 Ks. And
I did not hear. Well, this
7
pitch
walks.
clock is really messing with my my timing and my preparation. No, you adjusted quite well. As did eventually most of the Padres players. But was it a factor early in the season? I think partly, yeah. And I think the WBC with so many players on the Padres going to different teams, that was a factor early in the season. Now, it shouldn't have taken 5.5 months for them to finally lock in after the WBC, but
yeah, other teams figured it out eventually and managed to navigate their way around the rule changes and whatnot. But yeah, I think when a big league manager tells you no, it throws a real crimp into these guys' preparation and amps them up a little bit earlier. You have to listen to that.
EST3 asks, is Boras Ohtani's agent? No, he is not.
No, he's not.
Shohei does not have Scott Boras, so no puns for Shohei Ohtani. He doesn't need them.
No.
He is going to get his bank no matter what.
No matter what.
All right, we're halfway home. We'll come back in our 8 o'clock hour. We'll do a little Throwback Thursday to an infamous moment on our Ben and Woods program. Got Green Day tickets to give away coming up as well. Stay tuned for more. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Thursday. Ben and Woods 97.3 The Fan. I'm still reeling from Ben Borass's appearance. It was spectacular. Chances are pretty good if you missed it, we're going to replay it at 9:35. He actually forgot one as well. That's mark of it's a new guy.
Yeah.
New guy in the office. Got excited, rookie. And but the rest of them were certainly spectacular. Ben Borass, the newest member of Scott Boras Corp. The low man, as it were. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Really, really well. God, burps. Yeah. Really well done.
Thank you
on that.
Thank you. We just mentioned Shohei Ohtani. Just had a little Shohei Ohtani announcement on his Instagram.
An announcement.
For Shohei Ohtani.
You cannot stop.
He is donating 60,000 baseball gloves to every elementary school in Japan.
It's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
I would think that he's donating a total of 60,000 gloves, but maybe each elementary school is getting 60,000 gloves.
I doubt it.
Feels like that'd be a lot to each school.
60,000 total gloves
to every elementary school in Japan.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
That is very, very cool. Very, very cool by that gentleman.
Now this is probably also a little bit of marketing.
Don't crap on it. There's no reason to take a dump on this.
It's not taking a dump on it.
It's
is smart. It's smart to do a little positive PR right as you hit free agency.
Does he need the extra PR? Shohei Ohtani, the modern-day Babe Ruth, needs a little extra pub?
Maybe just a tad.
He's
not getting puns from Scott Boras, so he gets his pub a little different
This
way.
may surprise you. Some people do things just out of the goodness of their own hearts because they want to give back. They don't need to, do it for reasons, for ulterior motives, as it were. But yeah, he says on his Instagram post, "I'll be looking forward to sharing the field one day with someone that grew up using this glove." Really, really badass move by Shohei Ohtani. Very badass move. It's expensive, man. Baseball gloves are expensive, and baseball gear is expensive. It's an expensive sport to play. Very expensive sport to play.
Now, he would have a market with all 30 teams. Not all 30 teams are going to make an offer because they know what we can afford is simply not even close to what he's going to get from someone else.
It remains so fascinating.
There wouldn't be a team in baseball that wouldn't gladly accept his services for next season.
100%. DH only, whatever it may be. Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance he signs a short-term deal? Maybe even like a 1-year deal?
No.
In order to get back to pitching before he signs the long-term deal?
I don't think so.
He doesn't need to.
I don't think he needs to. I do feel like that the term risk gets thrown around a lot, and there is a risk with every single player that you sign long term. Every player has his own risks. Shohei's, you know what, man? Like, it goes so far beyond actual input on the field, production on the field. Let's say he never gets back to, Ben, pitching as well. You're going to feel a little bit bummed that you signed him to such a massive contract, right? Even if he's DHing for you, if he never gets back to starting every 5-6 days, whatever, are you going to feel bummed, or I
feel like you have to, if you sign Shohei Ohtani, whatever the deal is, you have to be happy with just getting the hitter. And understand, I'm willing to pay this for Shohei Ohtani, the hitter, and he may not get that premium for pitching. It's still going to be a massive contract if it was just for hitting. But if I'm Ohtani, I'm probably okay with that. Remember, while he's made a good chunk of change here, he hasn't really made anywhere near what someone of his age and skill level could have made coming up, through the United States, through the draft, and would have hit free agency once already.
Oh, man.
He hasn't. He came over in the bidding process. His team got a lot of that money, the posting fee. He got a contract, but it wasn't a massive one from the Angels. Gotten some raises over the years, and he's made some money, but this is going to be the one that sets him for life.
Yeah.
I don't think you can risk signing the 1-year deal and something happening, and then you never get the big deal after that. So my thinking is, if you're Ohtani, you still have high expectations, but you don't shoot for the moon, and sell yourself as the greatest pitcher-batter combination in history. You just say, hey, you're getting one of the best DHs in the league, and there's a good chance that in a year or year and a half, you're also getting one of the top pitchers in the league. But we're not gonna sell ourselves on that. We're gonna take the contract we're gonna get, based on your hitting skills at this point.
I'm just riveted by the whole process with him. I can't really get enough of it. I thought I would get tired head, and I may. I'm more tired of the proposed Juan Soto deals that I'm seeing than I am of where is Shohei going and for how much. I hope I'm not disappointed in the end, because my gut tells me that the Los Angeles Dodgers have made a billion non-moves and some moves to be ready to go out and attack and get him for their squad, Ben. And look, he's a fit anywhere he goes. So it's not like he's not a fit for the LA Dodgers. He absolutely is. He's a fit anywhere he goes.
So is there a team that he's not a fit on?
He's just perfect for every team. Every team can use him. They did not bring back JD Martinez, who was their DH last year, so I think he's going to be out there. All the signs point to Friedman saying, okay, what do you want? And bringing him in. Now, will it work? I have no idea, but I think it's a risk that if you're the Dodgers, you can certainly absorb, and you can certainly, hang your hat on if you go get him.
I think if you're Ohtani, though, you're going to get huge offers from other teams as well. Is the Dodgers, is that the place you want to be? Or is San Francisco more appealing? I've got to imagine San Francisco would hold some appeal for Ohtani. Huge Asian community up there.
Not like LA doesn't have
that
either.
True. It's true, and he's comfortable. He's been in the LA area essentially with the Angels already.
Seattle
makes some sense as well. San Diego would have made a lot of sense if the Padres were still financially, in the market for Ohtani. It doesn't look like they're going to be, but there's a lot of West Coast teams that would make sense. I mean, even Arizona at this point, coming off the World Series, can't be totally dismissed from the possibility of going after Shohei Ohtani.
That just made me I'm not saying you're wrong, but that thought just made me doesn't feel right. Right? It just doesn't feel right. Listen,
baseball players love Arizona.
They do. Yeah. I mean, it's relatively inexpensive, and depending on what his interests are, where he wants to be. But would it surprise you if he ended up on the East Coast? We always hear, right? Garrett Cole he's staying and he wants to be in California. I mean, they threw a buttload of money at him, and he's a New York Yankee, and it happens all the time. Guys end up on the East Coast. Bryce Harper was another one. Oh, he's a Vegas guy. He's going to want to be close.
I would be surprised.
Would you?
At least a little bit, because I think he's going to get the kind of offers he wants on the West Coast. So he's not really going now. Yeah, if an East Coast team offered $100 million more than anyone else, then of course there's a good chance he'd end up on the East Coast. But I don't see the West Coast teams that are going to be in this sweepstakes cheaping out and just not even coming close to matching what the Yankees or another East Coast team would give him. So I think he's going to be able to pick based on circumstances a little bit more than some players. A lot of players, they get one or two offers, and all right, it's it's Tampa Bay or it's Baltimore, and I got to pick one of those two. And it's not like lifestyle; it's where am I going? He's actually going to be able to say, all right, I've got huge offers here, and here. Now, what are the other pros and cons? The lifestyle, choices that are, make this place more attractive to me. Competitiveness, city, family, whatever equations that go into it. He's going to actually be able to take those factors into consideration.
Pumpkin King 1224 tweets, if Soto doesn't work out long term and we decide to trade him, do you think they pivot to Ohtani? I don't think so.
I would say no.
I would say no. I've been surprised many, many times by this regime here, and I guess you hate to say nothing would surprise you, but it's weird because I see so many fits for Shohei Ohtani, and I look at it here and I go, I don't know why I don't see a fit here. Certainly he's could slot right into the lineup, right? But I just, it's the financials. The financials are what gets me.
I have a fear just resting in my body that says we would break Shohei Ohtani somehow.
Sure. Yeah, it's the conditioning over the year. Like now he stinks, right? Like I don't know that it's that illogical either.
It also comes down to, if I had to choose between Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani for a mega 10+ year contract, I want Soto.
I feel like I want Soto too, but you're talking about you're talking about $500 million for Shohei Ohtani, right? $500 million.
Probably going to be close to the same for Soto.
I will say this about the Padres, and I don't disagree with either of you. Circumstances have changed a bit. But when the 2018 offseason rolled around, were the Padres thought of as big players for Eric Hosmer? No. When the Manny Machado offseason rolled around, were they thought about it? Not really.
He was a White Sox or a Yankee. That's it.
When the last offseason rolled around, did we think the Padres are going to make offers for Trey Turner, Aaron Judge, and then Xander Bogaerts? No. So the fact that
are you giving people hope now about Shohei Ohtani?
I'm just saying you can't look at the lack of smoke and go, well, the Padres are clearly out because no one's talking about the Padres. They weren't talking about the Padres with any of those other moves. In fact, they were pretty much dismissed as a non-factor every time they landed one of those players. So I will at least keep my mind open to the possibility of something unexpected happening this offseason. With A.J. Preller at the helm and, Peter Seidler still in charge, he hasn't been afraid to be a bit of a maverick, even if it means arguing with baseball about debt service limits and stuff. It's my team. I want this player, and we're going to sign him. So what are you going to do to me?
How dare you
take my team away?
Now you're giving me hope for Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto. Bring them all. I mean, there was a time, I remember when the Manny thing happened, and I think there was some real interest in the Padres of also bringing in Bryce Harper at the same time. That was a real conversation that we had at the time, and I think there was enough smoke around it to say, yeah, that could potentially happen. I don't know what's happened to me, but maybe I'm turning into more Colonel Budget. All the news in the offseason has just domed me out about, what the future of this team looks like, and it's just got me spun.
I'm seeing the conversation in our chat, so I want to open the phone lines as well, because we can take some calls in our next segment. But if the money was there for one more mega contract, do you make it a Soto extension, or do you sign Shohei Ohtani? Is that even a debate for some Padres fans? Because I see Ohtani over Soto there in the chat. I see Soto over Ohtani. What's the argument for and against both of those players? If you could sign one of them to the Padres long term, which one do you pick? We've talked about it ourselves. I want to know what the tier ones have to say. 833-288-0973. Give us a call.
And why?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And why? We'll give our thoughts again, and we'll take some calls when we come back with Ben and Woods, 833-288-0973. Back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Taking your calls here, 833-288-0973.
We are officially in peak off season, by the way.
Maybe the Padres
Soto or Ohtani.
Maybe the Padres don't want this conversation out there. Like, don't get people's hopes up. We're not going to have the money to sign either one of them, so you're putting expectations way too high. Or maybe they're like, yeah, I like that people think that could still be a possibility for the San Diego Padres. We're disruptors in the market, and we want to be talked about like disruptors in the market. But I think there's at least an intellectual question about which one would be the more valuable commodity for the San Diego Padres going forward.
I think value is probably going to tip the scales in favor of a Shohei Ohtani, right? If you're looking at more than just an elite player on the field, they both are that. But the value that Shohei Ohtani brings is far beyond that.
Juan Soto is undoubtedly a superstar. But Padres have superstars in Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado. Juan Soto is a similar kind of superstar to those players in my mind. Shohei Ohtani is a different level of superstar. Global superstar that is kind of a game changer when it comes to marketing your team and those off-the-field opportunities, bringing in new sponsors. I don't think Juan Soto signing changes the sponsorship game at Petco Park. Signing Shohei Ohtani, all of a sudden, you have an entire Asian market of sponsors coming in for your team. Even more so. I mean, Yu Darvish, they've already opened that door a little bit with Yu Darvish. Just blows it wide open with Shohei Ohtani on your team. You are Asia's team now with Darvish and Ohtani at the same time. Like 80 to 90% of that continent will be cheering for the San Diego Padres.
Yep, and he, listen, it's pretty widely known he will return to pitching. He's going to do that. He is not just going to be a DH for the rest of his career. The one thing I will say is he's 29 years old. Juan Soto is 24 years old. So that sways it a little bit for me. I saw in the chat, well, Juan Soto barely plays defense. I'm like, well, Shohei Ohtani plays zero defense. So the pitching, I hate that you doubt this guy, right? That you even would doubt, can he do it? I remember when he came up, I mean, there were articles written like, this guy's not going to cut it. He's just not that guy. He's batting 120 in spring training, and there's just no way. He looks lost. I'd say he adjusted pretty well. Probably going to win the MVP again this year. So you really can't go wrong. Where you can go wrong is if you wind up with neither of them. Now, you already have one here, so that should make it a little easier. I think he'll be less expensive than Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto. He has won a ring. He's done it in the World Series. He can do it. The pressure, I guess, that he probably felt. Imagine turning down $440 million. If that number is accurate, and I believe that it is from the Washington Nationals, if that number is accurate, and now you're expected to produce to that level again, sure, there's going to be pressure involved. I wonder what Juan Soto would look like in a contract year. Hopefully we get to see that next year. Or what Juan Soto will look like knowing he's set for the rest of his life, as is his entire family for generations to come. What does that look like? Does anyone think he's going to take his foot off the gas? I don't. He's not one of those guys I worry about. The dude puts in elite at-bat after elite at-bat. Now, does he hit 400? He doesn't. But he has the best. He has the best eye in the game. He swings at less balls than anyone in the game. Is it maddening sometimes to watch? Sure it is. You're like, do damage, bro. You have damage in that bat of yours. Do it. A walk, especially with the way the team's going. We need you to hit. We need you to hit for power. I think he knows that. So
I think he did the second half of the season.
He did. He absolutely.
He changed things a little bit.
He did.
Up.
And he has that ability. Not everybody can do that.
All right, let's go out to the phones. 833-288-0973. We got Carlos with us here on Ben and Woods. Good morning, Carlos.
Hey, good morning. I would go totally for Ohtani.
Ohtani.
I like Soto now, but there's too many stallions in the clubhouse.
So you don't? Do you not think Ohtani would then be one of those stallions?
Oh, of course it would be one of those stallions, but not a selfish stallion.
Okay.
But you think Soto is?
Soto is a little bit more. I see his the way he approaches the field and the fans. He's a little bit more cocky. So I get that vibe of I play for myself, not for the team.
Okay, I saw that in the chat too.
I mean, Juan Soto's a little cocky, and Manny Machado is a little cocky, and Fernando Tatis Jr. is a little cocky.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
I think a lot of. I mean, you have to.
And maybe Shohei Ohtani has a little less of that. Here's the thing: I don't know that makes you win or lose any more games. Cockiness is fine. Now, arrogance, like Eric Hosmer got to the level of arrogance,
100%,
and I think it did hurt the team at some point. I don't feel like Manny or Soto or Tatis is at that level. Like, hey, I'm perfect. There's nothing I ever need to do. They're confident in their ability. They're cocky for sure. I think if you're not, I mean, I've seen players who are unconfident in themselves. It's not a pretty picture. When you lose the confidence in what you're doing, that's the worst thing that can happen to a baseball player. So you want at least some level of cockiness out of your stars.
Every single person that has ever put on a major league uniform is cocky.
You have to be.
You can't get to that level.
Fear and arrogance, baby. That's it.
Now, if you want to split hairs and decide what's cocky and what's swag and confidence, we can have that conversation, I suppose. But to get to that level, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, like your entire life, anytime you walked into a gym or onto a field, you were the best player on that field.
Yeah, I've never had that feeling.
Do you think that
never on the baseball field?
Do you think that the market for Shohei Ohtani would impact a potential Juan Soto trade? Because the Padres are in a different situation. For all the other 29 teams, if you want to sign Shohei Ohtani, it takes money and convincing him to come. If you want to sign Juan Soto, especially if you want to do it this offseason, it's going to take a giant package of prospects and players to the San Diego Padres, and then almost as much money as you're giving up for Shohei Ohtani.
Sure.
So in that sense, for the other 29 teams, I would imagine Ohtani is a little bit more, well, we don't have to worry about trading for him. We get him right away. We don't have to wait another year for him if we're going to do that. We can get him now for money and nothing other than money right now.
We're paying front end here for the potential of back on the mound every 6 days or whatever his schedule is going to be. Yeah, I mean,
it's also why the Padres have the advantage on Juan Soto. They don't have to give up anything this year to get Juan Soto.
Money,
now,
the arbitration money.
They'd still have to give up money to sign him to a long-term extension, but they have that extra year to talk to him, to negotiate exclusively. Even if tampering is widespread, they still have that exclusive year to talk to him. There is value in that. To me, that's one of the reasons why Juan Soto is a better bet for the Padres. Throw in his age is a huge factor as well. And to me, Juan Soto would be your choice. If you're going all in with one of those two guys, I still think it's Juan Soto, not Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a better fit here. But I saw in the chat, I feel like the other guys in the team, I think Soto's ego's too big. And again, I mean, sure, yeah, you hear things and I don't think it's so bad that they would want him gone. I feel like if you're Fernando Tatis Jr. or Xander Bogaerts or Manny Machado, if you really ask yourself, hey, are we a better team with Juan Soto on it? I think you'd be nuts to say that you're not, right? No. We could definitely use a couple of young, low-level pitchers that hopefully make it. I think that'd be moronic to say. This is an interesting little note I saw on ESPN, is a position change in Ohtani's future. So he's going to serve as the DH in 2024. Will look to pitch, return to a two-way player in 2025. But could the outfield be in his future? Played 64 games as an outfielder during his time in Japan. That does a little something for me if I go, yeah, maybe the pitching doesn't work out, but he's a first baseman or a corner outfielder. Still a lot of dough.
Yeah, if the pitching doesn't work out, you consider putting him back in the field at that point.
Yeah.
But you don't put him in if he's going to pitch every sixth day or so, and he's going to DH, 4 or 5 times a week as well, you're not putting him in the field those days.
No. It's if the pitching.
It's only if the pitching
That's
doesn't
it.
work. And this year, you're not putting him out there because he can't throw.
Yep.
So he's only a DH this year. So he will have gone now. What will it be? 3 years since he's played in the field. That would be quite the adjustment. If you totally take pitching off the table, sure, you can discuss putting him back out into the field. If you had another DH option and thought, Ohtani's probably a better option, but I'm not planning around a return to the field for Shohei Ohtani.
No. It's only if pitching doesn't work out. The 10 teams in most hot pursuit of Ohtani, according to ESPN: the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Cubs, the Angels, the Dodgers, the Giants, the Rangers, the Blue Jays. Not mentioned. The San Diego
No,
Padres. Yeah, not
No?
the Padres. Nope,
Not even mentioned.
not mentioned. It's fine.
Okay.
Surprised you before, like Ben said.
All right, if you want to keep giving us a call, 833-288-0973. We also have our Throwback Thursday audio coming up next.
My God.
Gets me every time, man. Every single year when we play it, it makes
It's
me
not my
nervous.
favorite. I will
I
say
bet
that.
it's not your favorite.
It's not my
Wouldn't be
favorite
my
moment
favorite if I
to
were you
revisit.
either. It's a
Lord.
But I will.
Hall of Shame moment.
I will
time.
acquiesce here because it's the anniversary and that's what we do. So play that audio for you when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. What, from Soto and Ohtani?
Yeah.
No, we're just going to be discussing
hours
this
for days
until they sign somewhere else. I mean, this continues to be a conversation.
I don't want to.
No, I mean, I don't think Shohei Ohtani is signing anytime soon.
No.
My guess is, what's your over-under for, like, date that Shohei Ohtani signs?
January 15th.
Well, that's a good one. Yeah.
Pre or post? You take the over, the under, January 15th.
That's tough. I thought it would be before spring training. He's not going to be like going into that last few days like Manny was.
I can't imagine.
I think it'll happen before then, but it's not happening at the winter meetings next month.
Right.
You know, maybe over the holidays. Like,
how about a Christmas deal?
Yeah, maybe late. I'll go before.
Okay, do the pre.
But that's a good over under.
I'm leaning pre January 15th as well. Man, what an interesting what an interesting scene.
If it was January 22nd or something.
Yeah, it's going to be
a couple weeks before spring training.
Going to be really, really interesting. It's just a weird position to be in as a Padre fan when you look at your roster and you have so many needs. You have so many needs, and you think to yourself, why would we even? Does it feel like it would be just a colossal waste of AJ Preller and his crew's time to even go after him? Right? Like, isn't that ultimately, with all the needs you have on the team, the unsure... AJ knows what the payroll is going to be. We don't. But we have our guesses, and we've read our articles and done our homework. Do you feel like I don't think it was a colossal waste of time before when he went for him and learned Japanese and did his presentation. I don't think that was a waste of time at all. I do feel like now it probably is.
I don't feel like I'm worried about AJ's time. The one thing AJ seems to create more of than anyone else is time, since he's, working at all hours, and he has the time to make more plans than anybody else. So if he wants to do his due diligence on Shohei Ohtani...
That's all it is, though, is due diligence.
I don't know that he's wrecking all of his chances at other players at the same time. So I don't mind if he looks into it. I wonder... Ron Fowler told us this years ago, and I get that he's no longer the owner, but I feel like the philosophy has remained the same. Remember when he said, we want to under-promise and over-deliver for the San Diego Padres fans? Has some of the talk, the leaks, the payroll discussions this offseason been, to basically under-promise, keep everyone's expectations low so they can once again pleasantly surprise us, even if the payroll goes down. If it only goes down to 230 instead of 200, everyone's going to say,
"Ooh, that's more.
They spent
$30 million more."
Are they setting like a floor expectation so they know that what does eventually happen will end up looking a little bit better?
No, I think no.
You think it's a real?
I think it's
that's real.
Yeah.
The $200 million is kind of a Major League Baseball mandated.
Yeah, we talked to Jesse Rogers about it the other day. Not that Jesse's the foremost authority on it, but he's pretty dialed in the baseball world. And he's like, yeah, and in fact, I think you guys are going to probably end up having to trade Juan Soto before the season starts. Which would be it's a tough one to stomach. Certainly, we're gonna have to do some. They're going to do some major sell jobs on the guys they've got coming up, the guys that you got back. And, we'll have to take our medicine as a fan base. And it sucks. It sucks to think about him going to play somewhere else and, then not being in the mix for a guy like Ohtani. You want to be a player. We've kind of gotten spoiled in being players the last few years. And you don't have that feeling that you're going to be a player for huge names this offseason.
If that is true, I also wonder, how much of that is Peter Seidler and his fellow owners and wanting to make sure the in-house finances are in order, and how much of it is Major League Baseball, who has been very outspoken, from Rob Manfred to other owners, in
they
Colorado and beyond,
what we did,
who have been trying to put some reins on the San Diego Padres for years, and now they finally have this debt service rule where they can kind of club the Padres over the head and say, you are in violation of our rules when it comes to debt versus payroll. You must reduce the payroll. What's the threat? What's the punishment if the Padres don't? If Peter Seidler says, yeah, I'll be more responsible, but we're not going down to $200 million. We want to keep Juan Soto, and to do that, we got to be at 225, 230. What does Major League Baseball do? Take the Padres away from Peter Seidler? Fine him, make him pay more money. What's the punishment? I don't even know that there is anything prescribed in baseball's rules when it comes to, they have this rule, but there's no like, oh, you lose a draft pick, or there's any
tax or something.
Yeah, there's no punishment that's actually listed in their rules, because they said many teams are out of compliance with the debt service rules at any one given time.
Much like many teams take out loans, and it became national news.
So if the Padres just like thumb their finger at Rob Manfred and goes, what are you going to do about it? We're going to spend a little more than you want us to spend again.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? We want to keep Juan Soto, and I'm the owner of this team. It's my money, and I want him on our team. I still think that is absolutely in play this offseason for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I don't want to get my hopes up for that at all. Do you think a lot of this in the chat, signing Shohei Ohtani, quote, pays for itself? He pays for himself. Is that a true fact?
No.
I don't.
It offsets some of the cost of Shohei Ohtani.
Correct.
But you can't sell. I mean,
there's only so many tickets you can
sell more tickets at Petco Park. Yeah, you see, there's a few you could, but pretty much you have hit the upper end of how many tickets you can sell.
Sponsorships, though, like you said.
Even the price point of the tickets, there's only so high Padres fans can go. I mean, you're still limited. As badly as you want to go to the Padres game, I'll pay anything to go to a game. Your income at some point says, I would love to buy season tickets, but at $28,000 per ticket, I can't do it. So, there's only so much you can sell in terms of tickets, in terms of sponsorship. You can definitely make it go up with Shohei Ohtani, but the Padres are already kind of nearing their revenue, I think, maximums already.
Our uniforms are going to be covered in patches. We're going to look like NASCAR jackets at some point in the next 10 years. And again, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. Just have to just wear it. I like our patch, our Motorola patch. I don't mind.
Merchandising in Japan, and all those things would help. But again, we'll be talking about a $600 million contract. That is a lot of jerseys. God, it's a lot of jerseys to sell in Japan. That you don't make. I know a jersey may cost $132. It's not pure profit. I mean, the league gets some of that. The company that makes the jersey gets some of that. It doesn't simply go into the pockets of Peter Seidler. Oh, 132 jersey, $132 into Peter Seidler's pocket.
When we have a merch store, we make like a nickel on our merch.
Exactly. That's if you buy a 20. What's the Ben and Woods T-shirt?
Go buy a shirt today.
Right now, T-shirt's like $25.
$25. We make literally $1.
$2, yeah.
That.
Rolling in it.
Which we put back into the show.
Exactly. So go to our merch store and buy a
We're
Ben
not
and
getting
Woods
rich
shirt.
off the merch. We make it available because we think it's cool and some people want it. But yeah, we're not getting rich off the merch.
Get a coffee mug as well.
Please.
It's the holiday season.
It's good promotion for us if you're wearing it.
We have no other marketing.
Get
You
Skim
guys
Schumacher
are
to wear it.
You
We
are
get
our marketing. Yeah, Matt
Strom
yeah.
to wear it. It's good marketing, but we're not making any real money off of that. All right, let's check traffic. When we come back, it's a Throwback Thursday.
Oh, boy.
The time Ben just couldn't get out of his own way with a big-time ESPN guest.
So cringe.
I'll just walk
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by IKEA San Diego. Well, the crash is cleared from the HOV lane northbound side of the 805, so speeds are slowly getting back to normal. And traveling on the eastbound 8, either 125, there's a collision over to the right shoulder. Also going to find on the southbound 125, just past Hamishaw, reports of some metal debris from possibly a ladder that was hit. In the North County, South 5 at the eastbound 78, an accident involving a couple vehicles. They're over to the right shoulder. IKEA celebrates you from November 10th through the 22nd. Veterans and active military get 15% off IKEA purchases up to $3,000. And this weekend, get a free meal at IKEA. In-store only. Excludes Los Angeles area stores. Visit IKEA.com for details. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So we go back to November this week, 2019. We were talking with NFL insider, ESPN NFL insider, Sal Paolantonio.
Sal
Pal.
If you're a fan of this show, you know what's coming, and it will terrify you as it terrifies us.
We talk to Sal often. At our old station, my God, we probably had him on twice a week because we were told
mandated 5
football guests an hour.
Right.
So we had a good relationship with Sal, and we moved over here to 97.3 The Fan. It's football season. We had Sal on. Now, Sal Paolantonio, he's the NFC East guy for SportsCenter.
There's a lot of Eagles coverage.
He's the
guy.
Eagles
He's
guy.
the Eagles guy.
He is a big Eagles guy. This was the year, I think, right after they won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Nick Foles. You're going to hear some Nick Foles references, but it's it's Wrecking Ball Ben Higgins over here.
At his finest.
So here's the first clip. We're mid-conversation with Sal Pal.
Where do you go?
Oh, whoops, sorry. That's the second one. First one. Here we go.
I mean, those are the 3 quarterbacks I want. Well, of course.
That Super Bowl interception obviously was huge.
Of course.
The one last night didn't end up costing him.
I'm just going to stop it there. What's wrong with you?
What is wrong?
Just let the man talk.
Active listening.
Can I say that
I can't.
in my defense, I like when interviews can turn into organic conversations, and it's not always simply the back and forth of question, answer. The best interviews are when you really are getting into it with someone and talking with them and having
Over
a real
them,
dialogue.
Cutting them off.
I understand this one went. That Super Bowl interception obviously was huge.
Of course.
The one last night didn't end up costing him.
That's riveting radio.
There's one other quarterback that I want, and that's Nicky Five Fingers Foles. You know that.
Of course you do. Let's talk about the NFC East a little bit. Let's talk about the NFC East a little bit.
Touchdown, baby's back this week, week 11. Come on, let's talk about Nicky touchdown back. Come on now.
Kill me. I can't.
Now, you blame me entirely, but part of this is also on Sal Pal, just jumping in with the most maniacal laugh at the NFC East a little bit. 7 seconds after making his own joke. Right?
There's one guy I want, Nicky
Five Fingers Full.
So we
And
laughed
then
at his joke.
we laughed, and then he didn't say anything, and I started talking again, and then he jumps in with a maniacal laugh like 7 seconds
like
later.
a serial killer would.
After the fact, my thought was he thought you were like courtesy laughing, maybe,
Or making fun of his pick.
Yeah.
Nicky Five Fingers Foles. You know that.
Of course you do. Let's talk about the NFC East a little bit. Let's talk about the NFC East a little bit.
Touchdown, baby's back this week, week 11. Come on, let's talk about Nicky touchdown back. Come on now.
Ben's.
Now I'm starting to get a little worried about what's going on here.
My pits just started.
I'm sweating.
Dripping sweat.
So the interview continues. It's a lot more of that. It's a lot more of talking over each other. It's going nowhere. We also had Sal on this week because he had just announced like a 3-year contract extension at ESPN. So it was like a congratulatory segment. And this is how the conversation ended, by him hanging up on us. And, Woodsy's like, what are we doing here? Because it was just silence. It was awkward. We didn't know where to go.
Where do you go?
I don't know where to go. Sal, congratulations on the new
On the
deal.
new deal.
Again,
Hey, thanks for having me on your show.
Happy
This was a lot of
Veterans
fun,
Day.
Really, it really was.
This is
It was
amazing.
great.
This
This
is
is,
You guys are a lot of fun.
we'll have to do it
Really
again
enjoyed
soon
it.
when I'm a
Stop.
competent host. I can't. Thanks, Sal. Bye.
You're the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sal. What was that? I almost dropped it, dude. I was this
Is
close.
he mad?
He's not
I
mad,
don't think
is
he's
he?
mad. No,
He's
he was
mad.
a star.
He hung up on us.
He's a huge star.
I
Yeah,
don't
he
think
hung
I
up
was
before
ever
I could even put him on back on hold. Was I ever disrespectful to Sal Pal? I was not. I was trying to be engaging with Sal Paolantonio.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting Ben.
Interrupting.
I'm
It was
pouring.
awkward. I understand it was awkward.
But
I don't feel like I did anything.
all right.
You asked in that
Untoward.
clip, was he mad? Well, he hung up on us.
He hung up.
And the tone in his voice.
Ben hit him with a Happy Veterans Day.
The tone in his voice was, hey,
Is he a veteran?
thanks for having me.
Is he a veteron? I don't know this.
This
is amazing. This is
This
amazing.
is,
You guys are a lot of fun.
we'll
I
have to do it
really
again
enjoyed
soon when
talking football with you.
I'm a competent host. I can't. Thanks, Sal. Bye.
You're the
We
best.
love you.
Thank you, Sal. Dude, that's it. All right. So listen, I was the sports radio newbie, right? 5 years. We've been doing this together. Really my first time at doing sports. I've taken a lot of advice from you over the years. Yeah? Here's mine.
He was a veteran, by the way. Served in the U.S. Navy.
Happy Veterans Day to Sal Pal and the rest of the veterans out there. Here's my advice. Next time it goes off the rails like that, Just let it breathe. Just let it breathe. Don't try to continue to grind forward. You're down. You're down. Your forward momentum has already got you down. You don't need to continue to grind for that extra yard.
I've been working on it for many years now. Oh, man. I've always been very uncomfortable with silences on the radio. There's a term we have for that in radio. It's called dead air.
Dead air.
Usually it's something you're trying to avoid on the radio.
That being said, there's another term for it.
It's also a powerful tool.
It's called a pregnant pause.
I get it. I don't know where to go. Sal, congratulations on the new deal. Again,
Hey, thanks for having me on your show.
Happy Veterans Day.
It's been a lot of fun.
This is
a lot of fun.
We'll have
I
to do it
really
again
enjoyed
soon when I'm
football.
Oh my
a
God.
competent host. I can't. Thanks, Sal. Bye.
You're the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sal. What was that? That was close.
I was trying to be self-deprecating. I realized I handled it poorly. And yes, there is a difference between dead air and a pregnant pause.
Dude, with SoCal Yeti goes, I mean, you did kind of interrupt him a lot.
I did.
It just, when it starts to build,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm committed. Now I'm committed. Now it's my show, and I'm going to.
He's talking louder on the phone. You're talking louder into the mic.
There was my old host when I started in radio. You know what he would do? And he had the controls. He would just pull the person down. He would just pull pull it down and continue to talk, and then crank it up.
Paulie could have pulled me down at any point. but
This
he
will be
didn't,
the new.
so.
Just give me the. And I'll kill Ben's mic.
So good.
Ron
It
says,
is
has Sal
so-
Pal come on since?
See, I can do it.
He's did it. Sal Pal has not come on. He did leave us
Now,
a nice voicemail.
Yes, I found that. So a couple years later.
Oh, my heart.
I don't know if it was our 3rd year anniversary, 4th anniversary or something, but I reached out to a bunch of Ben and Woods guests and asked if they would just call in, leave a voicemail congratulating the show on another year.
It's a good bit.
And without telling you guys, I reached out to Sal Palantonio for the first time since that incident. We haven't had him on the show since, but he did leave a voicemail. I don't know if he forgot or if he just, said, let's let bygones be bygones.
Hey guys, it's Sal Pal, your special Philly correspondent, wishing the Ben and Wood Show a happy 2nd anniversary.
Sweet angel.
Hope everybody stays safe out there in San Diego. Great show. Miss you guys. Can't wait for football.
Doesn't sound like he's that mad at us. We should get him back on.
Good. My Eagles, Phil. I think I'm fine.
They're good this year. They get the best record in football.
Got breaking Padres news.
Yeah.
Coming
Okay.
up next. You see that?
No, but you've teased me back for the final hour.
Are you titillated?
I am. I'm ready for it. Coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Pause. Well, you teased us, so let's not wait any longer. What's our breaking Padres news, Woodsy?
From Dennis Lynn, the Padres formally interviewed Phil Nevin for their managerial opening Wednesday. Sources tell Dennis and Britt Giroli. A.J. Preller said yesterday that an official decision could come by early next week. Phil Nevin with a formal interview in Scottsdale, I'm imagining. Hopefully he avoided the doo-doo virus that is sweeping the hotel there. If you've got heartburn, diarrhea. Could use some Pepto there.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Phil Nevin, former Padres player, certainly, and former manager of the Los Angeles Angels, third base coach for the Yankees, been around the game a long, long time.
I'm not sure. I don't have anything against Phil Nevin personally. I'm confused.
Why do you hate Phil Nevin?
I'm confused as to what Phil Nevin did with the Angels that I'm supposed to point to as going, see, that's why he would be a good manager with the San Diego Padres.
Was he interim?
He was.
Okay, Madden was fired.
Yeah.
Nev was interim. Then they extended him a year or
Like
so,
a year,
or whatever.
and then
Okay.
another year. To me,
managed Shohei Ohtani pretty well.
Yeah, the behind the scenes reviews from players were generally positive.
Yeah.
But you also have to show some success on the field. And the Angels, of course, as they unfortunately have not had with any of their managers lately, did not have any success with Nev. I'm not saying he never gets another shot to be a big league manager. I'm saying,
yeah, because if that were the case, then a lot of guys that have been successful without getting a shot.
Feels like, he goes back and spends another couple of years as a bench coach somewhere, maybe a team on the rise, and then he's a hot name in a couple of years. To jump right into Phil Nevin, though, feels like a bit of a risk if you're the San Diego Padres, but I guess they thought enough of him to give him the formal interview and do that sit-down yesterday in Scottsdale.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, I know that A.J. Preller is going to talk to probably as many people as he can, and I did see in the chat, hey, what if he brings Benjamin Gil with him as well? Okay, sure, yeah, let's go. The Gil combo along with Phil Nevin, certainly something to be mindful of, maybe. But yeah, I'm not opposed to it at all. I mean, I've got my rankings in my head of who I want and who is going to make me kind of roll my eyes.
Can we quickly address the Benji Heel bringing Randy Arozarena with him talk?
Do we need to?
I don't know. I see people like, get Heel. He's going to bring Randy Arozarena with him. There's no rule in Major League Baseball that when you hire a manager because he was the manager of his WBC player, that he can just snatch that player from another team and bring.
Is Randy retiring? And
bring him with
bench
him.
Coach?
Scott Boras tried to introduce that rule, and it did not work. No, I mean,
it'd be
he's
great.
under contract, right?
If you could hire Benji Heel and he could simply say, and I'm taking Randy Arozarena from the Tampa Bay Rays and putting him on the San Diego Padres. By the way, the Rays still have to pay his salary. Fantastic. Benji Hill is now my new leading candidate to be the manager of the Padres. Doesn't work like that. He can't just steal Randy Arozarena from another team and put him on the San Diego Padres because they worked well together during the WBC for Team Mexico. He was kidding people. He was joking, yeah, I'll bring Randy with me. It'll be great.
Yeah.
That's all it was. If the Padres wanted Randy Arozarena, they'd have to offer a huge trade package and then probably sign him to a giant long-term contract extension.
Yeah, it's tampering. He's already tampered then. He hasn't even gotten the job yet. I'd like to credit nobody in the chat for suggesting the combo of Benjamin Gil and Phil Nevin. So that's how many interviews now formally that we know? Fact, 4, 5?
5.
Okay. Yeah, this can look. Here's not to be a naysayer or a catastrophizer, but hey, yeah, we talked to a ton of candidates, and at the end of the day, we just thought Ryan Flaherty was the best fit for us. Brace yourselves; could be coming.
We'll find out in the next few days.
May come as a surprise to no one. Yonder Alonso has campaigned for Ryan Flaherty, saying that he should be the manager. I wonder where that could have possibly come from.
Just a reminder to everyone.
Does he have any relatives in baseball?
Yonder's sister
N.A.
is married to Manny Machado.
Correct.
So obviously, I mean, we already knew that Manny would be a fan of.
Sure.
He may not even talk to Manny about it. He just maybe just going with the assumption. I know he likes Ryan.
Yeah.
So let's just say Ryan would be a good fit for Padres manager.
Interesting. Well, there's your breaking Padres news for the day. They haven't been feeding us many nuggets lately. That's about as exciting as it gets. That they interviewed Phil Nevin. Cool.
Let's see what else we got today. Here's Paul Reindl with our Reindl Report. And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul. All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
Take it away, Paulie.
Just one sports story this morning, and then we'll have some fun. In baseball media news, Jason Benetti left the White Sox television booth, and he had 1 year left on his contract. He's going to be calling games for the Detroit Tigers.
Hometown guy, Chicago guy, and leaving the White Sox for the Tigers. Definitely going to be making more money, right? That's why you make that move. Markets, different, certainly. Just was in Chicago, drove by the White Sox field. It's not great. I mean, it's not great. It's his hometown, squad, though. But, he was lured away to the D, as it were. And Benetti is just one of the best. He's
good.
One of the best.
To be
in
a
business.
very big fish in a slightly smaller pond in Detroit. But still a pretty big pond. It's Detroit. It's not
Detroit.
Yeah.
They've got
not Milwaukee
they got all
Kansas
4.
City.
We have 1. They have all 4.
So the White Sox, and this is I don't know anything personally about the White Sox. Feels like not a great organization.
Our friend Herb Lawrence, who we've talked to before, who I love Herb Lawrence.
Good dude.
Everything he tweets is like, I can't believe every move we make is the wrong move.
Reinsdorf is riding on the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan train for now 3 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's really no sign that he's an actual good owner of professional sports teams.
And they managed to win a World Series.
They did.
They managed to win a World
But
Series.
they didn't parlay it into anything.
No, not a damn thing. They've had some phenomenal players.
No. Flash
Some
in
of the
the pan that
best.
year.
Just some of the best players.
The fact that they have the World Series just goes to show. You don't have to be super confident to luck into one eventually, which is the fact that the Padres still haven't done it in 53 years is definitely like, we could be the worst organization in baseball. And they still sometimes do everything right for 1 year and win a World Series.
That's exactly right.
I was reading from the Chicago Sun-Times that Jason Benetti's last contract negotiations got a little dicey. He's got a lot of national obligations with Fox. You'll see him doing the national, game of the weeks or whatever. And the relationship had soured, so Detroit just kind of gave him a call, moved on in, and made him a nice little offer, and there he goes.
Remember when things soured between Don Orsillo and the Boston Red Sox?
Indeed.
And the Padres quickly swooped in.
Made
what turned out to be, I think, a very smart hire for their television
franchise-altering move, as it were. It'd be nice if he came on with us once a year.
Yeah, you talk about the bad moves Padres have made. No one has ever complained that I know of about that one. The Red Sox fans, they still lament the loss of Don Orsillo.
Correct.
But Padres fans have seemed pretty happy with that guy.
Well, it's contract related, I suppose. This is moving away from sports. Big day yesterday for SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. It's been a long year of strikes in Hollywood. The writer's strike, SAG-AFTRA strike. It came to an end last night.
If we were union, we would have been off the air for the last 118 days because that would be our union.
We got a couple tier ones that listen to the show and have listened to us whilst marching, whilst walking around.
Yeah,
And
the union reached a tentative deal last night with film, TV studios, ending the strike. I saw, speaking of tier ones, I saw on Instagram yesterday our buddy Chris Reed, who does the podcast with
Craig
Elston,
Padres Hot Tub.
Padres Hot Tub. He's a tier one. He was like in tears.
100%,
had
man.
ended.
6 months.
He was
dude.
like, he just was like, I'm so glad to be, I was glad to march with all of you, and I'm so glad to get back to work. He's one of my favorite shows of all time, Sons of Anarchy.
He's in Eastbound and Down. He's amazing.
It's just crazy that, yeah. And so I was just like, I wrote him back. I was like, man, just so happy for you.
That's really good stuff.
And all your friends.
Well, and also, man, we need the content back. We need to get this. I'm dying. Right? There's only so many Jim Morrison documentaries I can watch on YouTube. I'm in hell right now. I need some fresh material.
Have you ever been approached about joining a union? Or
Never.
No,
never once. You?
Yeah, once.
TV?
Radio, long ago.
Really?
Yeah. It was big hush hush. Like they didn't want it to be known that we were talking about organizing potentially in San Diego, but it was such a small market. I think it ended up not being worth the squeeze, essentially, to try to organize like 8 people into a union. It's like, you don't really have that much negotiating power when your entire industry is like 8 people.
Well,
so.
the other thing, too, is that the market of San Diego, they're like, all right, we'll lose all 8 of you guys. We'll get somebody in here tomorrow that's, not as good, but is comparable.
Yeah.
And we'll pay them half
that
what
was
we
long,
pay.
long ago. I was not a major player in that. I was just.
You're a major player now.
Maybe now
Yeah.
I would be.
Now you're a major player.
Never really been part. Like I've had jobs where you had to like join the union, and didn't really do anything for me. Like I mean, maybe they did, and I just don't know about
They
it.
probably just don't know
But I
about
never went on strike. Never like had an issue that I got to go to the union.
I
for.
would worry that Ben would
Your
cross
shop steward you didn't have to go to.
I would worry that you would cross the picket
he would
lines because you didn't
scab.
want to be mad, because you didn't want to be mean or something.
He'd scab after one day.
You go 3 days. The pressure from me would be outrageous on you to not cross.
You'd have to tie him down to not come back to the studio.
I feel like you would want to cross.
I like working. It would be tough to just stop working and say I'm not coming to work, because I always come to work.
Yeah.
Like habit.
Yes. Don't be a scab, though.
Don't do it, Ben.
Stand with your brethren.
All right, and finally, the company Neuralink, it's owned by Elon Musk.
Saw this.
They are looking for their very first volunteer, and this person must be willing to have a piece of their skull removed so that a surgeon, and by the way, a robotic surgeon, can insert thin wires and electrodes into their brain.
She's looking for one.
I have one question.
Somebody under the age of 40.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I do have one question, Paulie. Why? Like,
why not?
What does it do once the chip in the wires are in your brain?
It would
do you get
enable
superpowers. What do you get?
I'm reading here from New York Post.
Can you turn the TV by just looking at it, like change the channel? Like
looking for a candidate under the age of 40 who will also 1,000 electrodes into their brain. The interface would enable computer functions to be performed using only thoughts via a think and click mechanism.
So, like as I'm looking at Twitter right now, I can think refresh, and it'll refresh. And I only need to do some very risky surgery to be able to do that.
After a surgeon removes
Sign
a
me
part
up.
of the skull, a 7-foot-tall robot named R1, which is equipped with cameras, sensors, and a needle, will push 64 threads into the brain while doing its best to avoid blood vessels.
Right. Doing its best.
Don't feel like it cares that much.
Who signs up for this? I know there's
Unfortunately, a lot of people.
A lot of people probably.
Now, R1 has performed hundreds of experiments on pigs, sheep, and monkeys. So
people really don't like using their mouse that much to click on something that they want to just be able to think.
I think it's more than that.
That's not what Paul just said.
Which is
He said
terrifying.
it's basically just so you can control your computer with your mind rather than typing.
It's really... We've gone too far. Technology's great.
The long-term goal is to have this available for billions of people and unlock human potential and go beyond our biological capabilities.
You know what, man? Having a limit is probably a good thing. It is. You know, there's when you try to push your limits, sometimes it's good. It's healthy to do, pushing yourself. I don't need to fly, man. I'm good. Like I'm fine.
Best case scenario, let's say the technology works perfectly. It's brilliant. They're going to upgrade it so much. I don't want to be the one with the version 1.0. I'm waiting until I'm getting like version
14?
6. Yeah, or something. Like the iPhone, the first iPhone wasn't that great. You wait until you get an iPhone, 14. They're awesome.
Now, they're using the term, people in the chat, how much does it pay? And they're using the term volunteers, and the New York Post reached out for comments. They did not get it. They said it's unclear if Neuralink plans to pay the volunteers.
Or maybe they will charge them.
Yeah, they could charge you for it.
I mean, usually you get charged for medical procedures, not paid for them.
I think the more interesting thing of that is that robots, and I know that, but I mean, like doing surgery on you is interesting. Would you sign up for that if you're to get your knee scoped by a robot instead of a human?
That's an interesting question because at some point, the mechanical will be superior to the human.
If it's not already.
More precise, less capable of making a mistake. But I don't know if we're there yet. And you do like to have the judgment, the human judgment of the professional.
All I know,
not like they don't make mistakes, though.
That's true.
All I know is 4 years ago, I had surgery. I had gallbladder removal surgery. I was in the worst pain of my entire life, like those last 24 hours before surgery. The last thing I remember was being in the transition room before the operating room, and they just said, okay, like, give us your stuff, like, we're gonna wheel you in. And if they were to have said that, and then a 7-foot robot came rolling out, here's your doctor, be like, I'm good. You know what? It doesn't hurt that bad. Actually, it's like the worst pain I've ever felt, but I'm good. Like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, but if you didn't know, and if they just put you out, and then you woke up and said a robot did that and knocked it out of the park, wouldn't bother you. It's interesting stuff.
No,
man.
but I don't need to know that going in.
Well, I would volunteer, but I'm 48. I'm not under 40, so you don't want me.
I won't volunteer.
I don't want a chip in me. I don't. I'm good.
I'm good.
That's our Reindl Report on a Thursday. We got our football threesome coming up next, and got some Green Day tickets to give away as well.
Let's get sexy.
Let's do it next with Ben and Woods after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. We're getting close. The Biggest Fan Contest returns November 13th. Visit 97.3thefan, the sd.com/biggestfan, and register your name. Then starting on Monday, listen at 9:15 a.m., so right around now, a little before now, 11:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. during each fan talk show. If you hear your name called, you'll have 10 minutes to call us back. If you do, you'll qualify for the grand prize, 20 tickets in the Odyssey Suite to a 2024 Padres game. And all the fans hosts are going to come join you for your fun night with friends and family, watching a game in the suite. Going to be an amazing, amazing grand prize. But you can't win unless you put your name into the hopper. So go to 97.3thefan, sd.com/biggestfan, and get your name in, and we'll start calling those names next week.
Nothing like suite night, man. Get it done. And you could win, and we will come hang out with you. It's a blast.
All right, let's get to it. It's time for the threesome.
Can Ben and Woods interest you in a threesome?
A threesome would be fun.
Oh, not that kind of threesome.
Dang it.
We're talking end-arounds, the best tight ends in the world.
He must work out.
And going all the way in this game of inches.
Nice.
It's the NFL Threesome with Ben and Woods. Brought to you by Hamul Casino. Fun above all else on 97.3 The Fan.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Woodsy, why don't you kick us off today with our football threesome?
I sure will, Ben. You know, the Los Angeles Chargers made a big splash in the offseason. They signed J.C. Jackson, Ben, to a huge deal, 4 years, $82.5 million, a free agent in March of 2022, and ended up trading him back to the New England Patriots because things just weren't going well. Didn't really seem that involved.
And they didn't even bring him to a game earlier this season, right, before trading him?
And it's happening again. The Patriots are off to play the Colts in Frankfurt, Germany, and J.C. Jackson will not be on the plane. Ben, he was demoted from the starting lineup because he missed the curfew at the team hotel on Saturday. He was late to the hotel, missed curfew, and so Belichick said, nope, not coming with us, not going to have you there. Man, you just, like, that's such a monster deal. I get it. Things may not work out, but you're going to run out of chances eventually, especially in New England, where he played before and was pretty good enough to net that deal. So now he's not on the plane. He's struggling right now.
What was your curfew, like when you were a junior or senior in high school?
I want to say it was like 10 o'clock when I was like a sophomore, junior, and then I want to say it was midnight when I was a senior.
Paulie, you had a curfew?
I didn't really have a curfew per
You were
se.
that lucky kid.
It kind of just changed, I guess, if I was in trouble or anything like that. But I was always doing stuff. Like I had basketball practice at night, homework. You'd go to somebody's house, work on a project, whatever. My mom was pretty cool about that.
That's good. What about you?
I never had a curfew.
Never.
And I never stayed out late either.
What was the latest you stayed out?
9:30.
Parcheesi wraps up.
I like to be home.
Get home in time for Golden Girls.
I like to be home in bed.
Read the TV guide.
My high school had a lot of group projects. Like that was like a big thing. You had like either one partner or a group, and it's like, dude, I just pick my buddy, go crash at his house for a night.
I had a lot of fake group projects. Yeah, we had a ton of art projects and things that
Okay.
we had to work on that didn't exist. But yeah, the curfew's a real bit, man. And for me, my kids, you're screwed. Sorry, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Your curfew's 7, forever. We'll see you at 7. If you're late, then don't come home. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not going to be doing this on the weekend, staying up till midnight worrying about you getting home.
I've got, I think, what is usually one of the most overblown stories you get in the NFL. But probably at least once or twice a season, you see a team that has decided to take one of their coordinators, like from the booth, and put him on the field or vice versa. The 49ers, who've lost 3 in a row, and what was a dominant defense early in the season has struggled, are trying to fix the problem by moving defensive coordinator Steve Wilks from the booth down to the field for this week's game. And
Is it like punishment for the players? Like, I'm bringing them down here.
I don't really. I mean, I guess you could say. The offensive coordinator kind of has to be up high, I would think, for the play call.
Yeah.
And see the defense quickly and then call in what they think is the best play. You don't have a great perspective standing on the field. It's really the worst place to watch a football game is standing on the sideline. But for the defensive coordinator, does it help for him to be down there, like be in the huddles and
be in their faces?
Be in their faces.
Yeah,
now, there's position coaches who can do that as well that are all on the field. Some are up in the booth. I'm sure someone will still be up in the booth for the 49ers helping with defense, but Steve Wilkes is going to move down as though that's going to make some big difference. If they win this week...
Who are they playing?
They are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, you should win that game.
Well, they added Chase Young in a trade with the Commanders.
They did.
That's probably more helpful to the defense than Steve Wilkes moving from the booth to the field as defensive coordinator.
If I was a coordinator, I'd want to be on the field. I wouldn't want to be up in a I don't... You
don't feel like you're as much part of the team.
Yeah, up in
you're up in the booth.
I mean, you sit up in the press box. Who wants to sit up there? I don't like that. It's a nice view. It's a good seat.
Well, if I was actually like on the baseball team, I wouldn't want to be up in the press box.
Right. Yeah, not at all.
No.
You want to be down in the dugout
where
the action is.
They always
stick me up there,
so
man.
like at halftime, they would always hold the elevator at Qualcomm Stadium because the coaches had to get down first to get down to the locker room to talk with the other coaches. So if you wanted to go anywhere, they'd block off the elevator and the coaches would come scurrying out of their booth, get in the elevator, get down there so they could meet everyone at halftime.
In the locker room.
At the end of halftime, they'd block it off again so they could come back up as fast as possible, get back to the booth to start making their calls upstairs.
Good deal. And you guys got Survivor picks for those of you that are
anyone
still in
still
it?
alive or if they've started over again? This, to me, is one of the tougher weeks for Survivor. At this point, I mean, the top choices right now are the Cincinnati Bengals, but if you've already picked the Bengals, then you're out of luck. But they are hosting the Houston Texans. I'm a little afraid to pick against C.J. Stroud right now.
That's a 5-3 Bengals team hosting a 4-4 Texans team.
That's a
and
good
the spread is Cincinnati -7.
Yeah, and that's picked by in our Yahoo League 35.7%
I mean,
of
if I'm
people.
betting that game, I might take Houston +7.
The Cowboys are getting a lot of play this week against the Giants. I already used the Cowboys earlier this season. They're at nearly 50% against the Giants. So, Paulie, that might be yours. I am going.
Don't tell them.
I can tell them. It's fine.
Nice.
I'm going with a 4%er this week. Very low. They're the Pittsburgh Steelers at home against the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
I don't believe in the Packers.
Congrats, Paulie.
Thanks.
I believe in the Steelers. They're 3-point favorites at home. I just, as we said, I think they've turned it around a little bit this season. I think they're a decent overall deep team, and I think the Packers have some issues right now.
Well, I can't wait to come in tomorrow and talk about the Thursday night football game. Yeah, the Carolina Panthers at the Chicago Bears on Amazon Prime tonight at 5:15. I'm the nerves I have for this game tonight are just through the roof. It's just going to be
pacing as soon as I get home until 5:15.
An epic game tonight at Soldier Field in Chicago. So I think we should cover it tomorrow unironically. Like a real sports radio show.
Really pay attention.
Really pay attention. And
get deep into the matchup.
I'll be
Post-game
asleep
audio.
an hour and a half in, for sure, to that game tonight.
By the way, speaking of Green Bay, I now have Green Day tickets to give away.
Not bad. Not
there's
a bad
transition for you. Call now to win a pair of tickets to Green Day at Petco Park on September 28th. We'll take the fifth caller at 833-288-0973. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., so 24 hours and 28 minutes from now. You can get yours at Ticketmaster.com, or you can win them right now from Ben & Woods at 833-288-0973. Earlier, we did our puns for the lesser clients in the Boras Corporation stable. I forgot one.
You did. It's a bonus.
We have a bonus pun for you. If you missed it, we'll probably play back all the other ones, but even if you did catch it, I got one that I didn't get to. I think it's a pretty good one as well. So we got a few more puns for Scott Boras' use coming up next with Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
We're kicking around some. You'd have to be a real degenerate to bet on tonight's game, and there's going to be a ton of action on tonight's game. That I promise you. Again, it's the Carolina Panthers at the Chicago Bears, and the line for the Bears is -3.5 at home. Money line -180. The total is interesting to me. 38 points. Do they go? It's dead even money. Over or under 38 points. I feel like it's the natural inclination to bet the under on there, but boy, do I hate watching the game that I've bet the under for. I just can't stand it. Betting the over is fun. It's a more fun watch. Don't you agree? If you bet the over,
yeah. Well, you feel like you've always got a chance because, hey, even if you're 20 points short, it could go overtime, and there could be more points. But once you bet the under, and oh man, it's already 28-21 in the second quarter.
Halftime,
it's my bet's done. I can't. There's nothing to cheer for anymore.
That's true.
You can never lose points later in the game.
That's true. It's true. But you look at those two teams, you go, all right. But they're both so bad that maybe they score a lot of points. You just don't know.
You will get Al Michaels on the Amazon broadcast, and lots been made lately about Al Michaels, and I had not known this about Al his entire career.
I've seen the vegetables.
Vegetables. Claims to have never eaten a vegetable in his entire life.
Can't stand him.
It's not like vegetables.
I thought you told me about this story.
I don't think I told you about it.
Sounds familiar.
But he just ranked his most hated vegetables of all time. He goes asparagus, then spinach, then broccoli, then onions, then mushrooms.
How does he know if he's never eaten them?
They called him out around the horn and said, if you've never eaten any of them, how do you rank your worst ones? Basically, I think it's just by a gross appearance, like which one looks like it would taste the worst to him.
Reputation?
Yeah, reputation, perhaps.
He's judging a book by its cover.
He will not eat
bad
them.
rep.
Asparagus is I do too, but the urine makes me vomit.
It
makes me sick to my stomach after. Literally, I'm like this. I'm like, am I diseased? I feel diseased after I eat it, and I eat a lot of asparagus. Broccoli, it's a necessary
Spinach
evil.
leaves that irony residue on your teeth.
Yep, I cannot eat a mushroom.
That's weird.
I cannot eat a mushroom.
I love mushrooms. Mushrooms are delicious.
I cannot do it. I can eat a.
They're not a vegetable though. They're a fungus.
They're a fungus.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the other one? Onions are delicious.
Onions are like the base of so many things you eat. I don't think you even realize
How do you potatoes aren't a vegetable, right? They're a tuber.
Yeah. You mean if you're counting potatoes as a vegetable, you're an unhealthy person.
I eat a lot of vegetables then.
French fries, they're a vegetable. Yep. No, they're not.
How do you make it that far in life? Where does he get his nutrients from?
Well, I mean, at this point,
Centrum Silver
how
or what?
Old is Al? He's like 75 something.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if you've made it work for you, you don't need to change now. It's like, hey, you're not going to live a long and fruitful life if you don't eat vegetables.
He's like,
Too
I just
late.
did.
Already did.
I just did. I'm extremely wealthy and successful. Just Centrum Silver every day for Al Michaels.
He says he has had French fries. He doesn't consider potatoes to be vegetables.
Yeah, they're tubers.
Yeah. Nor should he.
Right.
So you've got that if you want to watch the game tonight as well.
That's It's fascinating. He seems like such a responsible man.
He does. It surprised me. Who's the baseball? The Yankees. Michael Kay doesn't.
He also doesn't.
He only
maybe
eats
that was the story.
Ketchup and steak and like two other things in his life. That's about it.
He eats like Bo does. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Freaking kids.
Eat like an adult. At some point, you got to eat like an adult.
Yeah, you got to get those veggies in and fruits.
I want to thank Chris B., who tweeted in, the Ben Borass segment was probably the greatest bit I've heard.
It was so good.
Ben Higgins SD is a genius. Ha, 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 ha. I don't know about that, but...
No, I would say this is up there with your
So
best.
if you missed it, earlier we had Ben Borass, who is the newest member of the Boras Corporation.
Ben Borass.
Scott's nephew, who gets the lower level clients and comes up with his own puns for some free agents. So Paul is going to play back the clip after our check of traffic, but I forgot one of my clients. I had to apologize. We almost lost him to a different agency.
He was not happy.
He was not happy. I've had to do some mending. I said, I've got a great pun for you. Hang on. We're going to get to it right after this segment after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Still kind of a busy ride in a few of our freeways. Going to find a traffic advisory for some road work that's got the College Avenue off-ramp eastbound King Freeway blocked. Northbound side of the 5 near Pershing, just before, there's an accident involving a motorcycle. It's over the right shoulder. Also traveling on northbound 163 right before the 8, collision over to the right shoulder and crash over the right shoulder. And northbound 805 before Mesa College, collision that is partially in the slow lane. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan.
For gathering around. I am Ben Borass. I am one of the newest associates of the Boras Corporation. And I have been assigned some of our exciting new talents in our stable. Maybe not the names like Cody Bellinger or Pete Alonso, but these are very important clients that my uncle has given me to work on here during this offseason.
Mr. Boras, Stephen Woods, 97.3 The Fan in San Diego, home of the San Diego Padres. Quickly, you say your uncle Scott Boras, but there's an extra S on the back of your name, Ben Borass. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't want there to be any appearance of nepotism, so we added the extra S at the end.
Just one S.
So Boras, yeah.
Okay.
Boras.
Well, listen, we've got a really big platform here and all these reporters here, and we would love to hear about some of the exciting free agents that you, the most brand new member of Boras Corp, have been assigned.
I've been put in charge of a player at every single position around the diamond. I have 10 clients for you, and I'd like to extol some of their virtues right now. Starting with one of our newest clients behind the plate. You might be familiar with the name Victor Caratini.
Absolutely.
He's a 24-carat star behind the plate who's just the kind of depth your team needs for Victor E.
Oh, no.
Victor E.
Victor E. Our welcome new client, Joey Gallo, our designated hitter.
Ben and Wood's favorite, by the way.
Like
Big fan of Joey Gallo.
Huge fan.
What's Joey Gallo up to?
Like a
Mr.
fine
Boras?
wine, Joey Gallo just keeps getting better with age. But don't expect to land this grape crusher at $2 Chuck prices.
You are the worst. You're fitting in very nicely at Boras Corp.
Welcome to our former Padre here, first baseman G-Man Choi in our Boras Corporation stable. G-Man is a he-man at the plate with his powerful swing. By the power of Grayskull, you'll be jumping for Choi if you land this premier talent.
Jumping for Choi. I think he got one hit with the Padres.
Two.
So
Two
hits.
in the same game.
We look forward to
That should be an interesting negotiation.
It should be. Jumping for Choi, by the way.
I will be also representing shortstop Elvis Andrews.
He still plays.
He does,
Wow.
apparently, yes. If you're looking for a little less conversation and a little more action, Elvis should enter your building. He'll have the competition all shook up with his play at shortstop. But act now or it's Heartbreak Hotel for your front office.
This is better than I ever imagined it would be.
Ben Borass is a
Ben
genius.
Boras, I mean, promotion is coming so soon.
My next client's a pretty big name now. Third baseman Justin Turner. He'll arrive just in time to help Turner your team's fortunes around. But don't skimp on the green if you want Big Red to join your lineup over the holidays.
He should hire you. Like, you should hire him today.
In the outfield, very exciting client, Tommy Pham.
Ooh.
Get ready for one fantastic signing. Tommy isn't deaf, dumb, or blind, but sure plays a mean baseball.
I hate you. Are you kidding me?
Then we go to our arms. We've got a starting pitcher in the stable. Hyunjin Ryu. You'll rue the day you missed out on this pitcher. He may not throw at 100 miles per hour, but this gin is still the perfect tonic for your rotation.
That's literally one of the most clever things I've ever heard in my whole life. Hey, read that one again for Hyunjin Ryu. It's my favorite.
You'll rue the day you missed out on this pitcher. He may not throw at 100 miles per hour, but this gin is still the perfect tonic for your rotation.
Are you kidding
It's
me?
brilliant. It's 100 miles an hour.
Mr. Borass, Paul Reindl, 97.3 The Fan, Padres Radio Network. Who do you have in the bullpen?
We do have
You're
a
representing?
reliever for your consideration this offseason.
Need some help here in San Diego.
One Dylan Floro. The ceiling remains high on Floro, who will be dealing off the mound in a variety of roles out of your bullpen. Don't let your jaw hit the Floro when you miss out on this arm.
Stupid.
And those are my 10 clients that I'll be representing for the Boras Corporation.
I will say this
offseason.
Mr. Borass, you will be climbing the corporate ladder very, very quickly.
I wish it was just that easy. If
Is that
all
natural,
it took was
or is
bad
that part
puns.
is that part of orientation at Boras Corp?
Honestly, I did that in about 8 minutes. It just came so naturally. It just flowed out of me.
I texted them, and Ben goes, he writes back, give me 5 minutes. Paulie texts me back 8 minutes later. It was like, they're here, and they're spectacular.
Obviously, I still have some work to do, though. I said those were my 10 clients. I only read 9 of them.
Yeah.
I skipped over I went straight from first base to shortstop, and I missed out on our second base client. I am so sorry. I apologize profusely to one Whit Merrifield.
Ah, yes.
Because Whit can hit, and he's a Merrifielder, too, out at second base. If you're looking for a batter to whittle down opposing pitchers, he's your merry man.
That's unbelievable.
That
it really
then now concludes my Ben Borass puns.
It really is scary how easily those come to you. Just proving like what goes on in his brain. How many times do you make yourself snicker a day? Just
lot.
by yourself.
A lot.
Driving,
Yeah.
you'll see something.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, there's only one person who's really turned it into a lucrative business, though, and that's Scott Boras.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for that because most of us are scorned for our pun-making ability. At the very most, we get a polite chuckle, but he actually makes it, millions of dollars out of it.
He does. I mean, he does more than that.
I guess there's probably more to it than just the good puns, the deal making and the negotiating is part of it, but it seems like the puns are the biggest thing.
It's definitely something people look forward to, and I really enjoyed your Ben Borass segment. It's really well written.
Whit can hit, and he's a merry fielder.
He's a merry fielder too. The Hyun-Jin Ryu is going to be tough to top. I mean, I'm going to be thinking about 100 miles an hour all day.
I kind of want them to sign the
Oh
Padres.
my
to
God,
sign
me
Hyun-Jin
too.
Ryu now.
It was
no idea what his numbers were like
none,
last year.
0.
That's irrelevant when it comes to
It's-
puns.
Yeah, it's totally irrelevant.
Does not matter.
Which still, Mike Schilt is there's still a lot of hope. Talking Schilt is actually a thing, but so Padres no manager yet. Ben Borass knocks it out of the park today, and we're pretty much done, I would say, for the afternoon. What's on the agenda for the rest of the day, fellas?
I don't know.
You
I
feel
thought
better?
I thought we were going to cover the rest of the general managers meetings, but they abandoned those due to the norovirus. So
norovirus is what it was updated. Still managed to get an interview out there with Phil Nevin. If you missed that news, Phil Nevin did interview with the San Diego Padres. I saw people. People are punchy right now, the Padres fan base, and I get it. I'm pretty punchy myself. I saw people like, well, these are the quality of candidates that we're interviewing right now. What are your thoughts on that? Like, are you mad that it's not more upper echelon? How many upper echelon guys are out there? Do you think that AJ should be going for an upper echelon type manager?
Who would that be?
I don't know that there are more upper echelon guys. I don't want Buck Showalter.
I really don't either.
And I don't think I really wanted Craig Counsell, even if they tried
Everybody
to
is
outbid the Cubs.
They've been losing their minds.
I don't know
on him.
that that's who I want.
Does
So
AJ even make a call to Terry Francona?
No, he's
retired.
He's done.
He would have stayed with the
wants-
Guardians.
yeah,
if
Dusty
wanted to
Baker.
stay
No,
there.
he's retired.
Do you make the call?
I don't think so.
I don't know that either of those people. I mean, there was some talk that Dusty wasn't totally happy with the Astros, but I can't imagine that either of those guys left because they were simply willing to trying to get out of a bad situation or ready to jump in somewhere else.
Tito's he hasn't been
His
healthy.
health has not been good.
It's not been good.
There's just not names out there that are available right now that you'd want. The best name that was hired right now, Bob Melvin, probably, of managers that have been hired so far this offseason.
You think you make a call to the Giants for Bob Melvin?
And at $4 million, what a steal now.
That would be a surprise. Padres have asked the Giants for permission to interview Bob Melvin for their managerial position.
Surprise, everybody. Just kidding. The Padres just money whipped me with more. $8 million, and now I'm back. That would be a tough transition. That'd be a tough press conference, I think. Farhan just standing there like, what the hell just happened? Holy cow, man.
I don't think I'd even go to another introductory press conference
if it was
for
Bob
Melvin
no.
at this point. Padres are introducing Bob Melvin as their new manager. I've done this already.
Adam,
I'm good.
Hey, can you guys do a reaction video? Play my old one from the last time. I'm still surprised that he's here again. So we'll keep you in the loop. If we hear anything, certainly, AJ Preller himself basically said maybe early next week. So fully expecting that to happen Monday or Tuesday.
I mean, if you're still interviewing people as of yesterday,
right.
Phil Nevin, you probably need a couple more days to, because that means you haven't offered anyone a contract. You're not in final negotiations with someone. So you figure those take at least a day or two to go back in terms of like contract talks. I'm guessing at least the weekend or Monday or Tuesday.
Absolutely.
Now, so. All right, that's it for us. Coach is coming up next for executive producer and imaging director Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Borass. Thanks for joining us on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. So long.